Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Writer's Room with Rach and Kari. If Kari can unmute her microphone. Kari, unmute your microphone. Or I'm just going to talk to myself.
She was working on it.
She is. Do everything so slow.
I don't know. But welcome, and I hope that people are joining us soon. And I think that a few people sometimes drop out because we have this blank screen at the beginning, but it's simply just to let people get enough time to join us. So I'm hoping that some people will pop in soon.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of comments that are people later in the when they're watching later after we've already posted the video and everything. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, I can't hear anything. It's not working. It's working, I promise. It's just a solid 10 to 15 minutes of silence at the beginning. Think of it as an intro, yes. But it works. You gotta get it.
I think maybe for future reference we're gonna put up in the description when you do the links in the description. You can put in the description where the audio actually starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those learning curves things. Okay. Yeah. Well, today we have.
It only took us 9 weeks.
Well, today we have Erin, who is a frequent guest in our chat box these past several weeks.
Hey guys.
And by the way, I have to excuse myself. I got home from work and I had some errands to run, so I'm chewing. I'm eating. It's 8 o'clock here, so I'm having dinner.
Sure, whatever.
Fine. She's not even going to share with the rest of us.
I know. If you're going to bring food, you at least need to bring enough for the rest of us.
Oh, I got enough leftovers. You just have to come to Denmark and get them.
Okay.
Okay, you need to find a way to transport that Star Trek style to where it's here in Oklahoma and not just across the ocean.
I'll be working on that TARDIS any second now.
Okay. Good to hear
it. But okay, if people don't know, Erin is also a close friend of me and Rachel. So that if we go off on a few tangents, I'm so sorry. It's not that you're not used to that, but I might as well just apologize right now.
I will try to keep them on topic.
Good luck.
She's a hangover, still kind of drunk college girl, so good luck with that.
You are much older than me, very hungover.
This is true, but how often do I go out and drink?
I don't know how it turned out. Both Karina and I went out and had some fun last night. We did not plan it to be on the same day.
No. I did not plan it at all. I was
literally at my friend's house, and I texted Sarah, who's bookworm 523, I think.
Yeah.
And I texted her because we're virtual drinking buddies, and she just goes, "Yeah, Kari and I are drunk too. Go check our pages we're fighting over a potato."
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, even drunk Rachel was like, "What the hell?"
Oh my god! Why did I miss this? Why did I have to be playing a Dominion tournament and miss this? Dang it!
See, somebody, an anon that turned out to be Eli, that's Frosted Die at Tumblr. He went on anon and rolled potatoes to people, apparently.
And
I named mine Gunvald, which is a stupid Swedish name. and Sarah tried to steal my potato and wanted to mash him and eat him. And I was very sad and very drunk.
My adventures were more of my friends. They had a roommate who moved out, so they converted their room into a literal balloon room.
Holy crap.
They used a sofa cushion to block off the door and filled the room with balloons.
But I feel like this potato talk is a very nice. By the way, if you want to see the balloon room, you can follow Rachel on Snapchat. I think it's still on her history. It was awesome.
I just saved it. I'll probably be posting at least snippets of it.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
No, but this potato talk is kind of a nice segue into how running it. We are talking about running a blog today, and the first question is: do we care about how the blog presents itself?
Depends on if you're sober or not.
Yeah, but I kind of do care about how it presents itself. I just don't care about it being all professional all the time. I care more about it reflecting me, who I am as a person.
Which is drunk argument.
Which is a dog. Whether I'm drunk or not, I'm still a dog. And I don't mind it reflecting that. I'm not rushing to my blog and deleting all my drunkenness. The next
Good,
day.
because the rest of us need to go see this now. Busy this morning running an AV department at a church. I need to go see this.
I cannot just say bless Jack Sparrow for I love rum, and he has the perfect gift for that.
Yes. I drank
exactly. I threw that at Sarah a few times last night. But yeah, so my blog is, I don't have a separate blog for write. I have a side blog where I only reblog all my writing, but that's kind of for the purpose of when tags don't work, you can turn out notifications for that. And not see all my political ramblings, which I do sometimes, or I not see all my S games and not see all my reblogs of gifs and swooning over the Neil or whatever I'm doing whenever I'm doing it, or being drunk and yelling at Sarah not to eat gunmouth.
That I didn't get a drunk Karina ask in my inbox.
I didn't send drunk asks to anyone. I think Sarah started sending me asks and people realized I was drunk and I got more.
I think I realized today that I sent a drunk Snapchat message to Nichelle. But I don't remember what it was. And the
Stephanie was drunk. Steph, who was on last night, was drunk. So there's a very, very good chance that Michelle was as drunk as you were. So
I would like to point out that Rach was worried about me getting off topic, and y'all are just running away with the crazy drunkenness from last night. So I just want to point that out for future reference.
So let's segue from the crazy drunkenness. I said what I care about, how my blog presents itself. What about you guys? Do you think about it all when you post? How it's going to reflect?
I do, actually. It's evolved a lot in the last year. I used to just, do a giant hodgepodge of everything from various stuff in fandom to what I was working on to fics from other writers and all of that. And then in the last, I'd say 6-7 months, it started shifting more to, no, I really want it to focus on writing and be a writing blog, not just my writing, but other people's writings on Tumblr that I've, read and enjoyed. I do still, pull in other stuff here and there, when, I just really love it or it makes me laugh so hard, I'm crying and I just have to share it. But I am very particular about what goes on there. It is something that I'm very conscious about now. As I've started to change my focus as a writer, I've noticed that my blog is starting to reflect that.
Yeah, I'm very conscious about what fics that I reblog. I of course I reblog everything that's in my challenges and leave a comment, but I tend to. There's also the thing is, even if I love a fic, I don't reblog anything without a keep reading if it's over 500 words,
Mhm.
because I know how freaking annoyed I am scrolling past 6,000 words on my desk, especially on my phone.
Oh yeah. Okay. On the phone though, it's like almost unavoidable. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But so that I'm conscious of, but I'm also conscious about. It doesn't have to be perfect writing by any means, but I
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
I wanted to be. I wanted to stand out in some way. I wanted it to be something
Mhm.
that kind of speaks to me in some way. If it's something I was tagged in or right I follow myself or whatnot. Um, so I'm if you get a reblog for me it's because I love it. It's not because you tagged me and I feel obligated to reblog it, because I don't.
Unless you're me.
If yeah, I can hear you. If I reblog it, I always like it. Well,
Yeah.
if I read it, I always like it. Um, but 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 comments and reblogs and stuff are definitely uh for when I really love something about it and something stood out to me.
Yeah, if I'm doing a comment, a reblog, and ask something, like so something stood out, or I just really enjoyed it to the point where
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I can't not say something. Because as a writer myself, I know how important it is for me to get that feedback, to see that okay, people are enjoying this, I'm on the right track, or getting an ask from someone going, hey, I liked your story, but this bit right here was kind of weird, because that's how we learn, that's how we get better, and that also helps keep you motivated to keep writing.
Yeah. But don't you prefer that in an ask though, and not on a reblog?
Yes, yeah. If it's going
Yeah,
to be constructive
because
criticism, I
that's kind
prefer
of
it in
something.
either an ask or a personal message.
Yeah.
I thought I'd put that in there. Sorry, Erin's a scatterbrain today.
Well, you said it.
Um,
That-
Francis wasn't paying attention.
mhm.
yeah, that's something I have gotten very conscious about. That not leaving, even if it's constructive criticism in any way, not leaving it on reblogs. Because the person can't control if that gets seen. But if I
Right,
send it in an ask, um, and I always sign my name, so it's not an anon where they
right.
have to post if they want to
Exactly.
reply. Um, but if I send it, I always send one positive, one negative, and one positive in an ask.
Right.
And they got the opportunity to answer me privately and not have that on their blog. Because that's something I'm very conscious about. Even though I reblog it to my blog, whatever I put on their fic is also on their blog. Um,
So there's someone asking in the chat, hey, what is this? Would one of you guys like to kind of explain that a little bit better than I can?
this is the writers' room, and it's a show where we talk. Rachel and I talk different themes about fan fiction. Um, and today we are talking about running a writing blog. And last week we talked about the genre smut and angst. And next time I think we're gonna be talking about fluff, right, Rachel? Rachel?
You act like I know.
um, yeah, fan fiction specifically, kinda, yes. No, but I think we're gonna brush out to fandom stuff in general. We have talked about having some artists on at some point,
Yeah,
right, Rachel?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We are fan fiction writers, so that's our natural stepping stone. But yeah, fandom stuff, and maybe we are gonna invite some people on and talk about the con thing, or we're gonna invite some people on and talk about some meta about the show or something like that. But it's gonna be fan fiction, and the main focus is gonna be supernatural, since that's a fandom we're both in. But other fandoms are welcome as
Yeah, we
well.
have a couple Marvel
Um,
characters that are in.
yeah, we have had a few Marvel fics. We have, and I think Erin has not Superman, but the guy that plays Superman fic. She's gonna talk
I've done
about a
a
little later.
couple. Yeah, I've done a
Yeah,
couple.
yeah. So fandom, fan fiction, supernatural, in that realm is what we're gonna be talking about. If we are gonna move on to the next point, master lists. How necessarily are they? And how do we best make them accessible to our readers?
Well, don't do a Rachel and don't forget to constantly update them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try and update mine every time I write. I have chosen to have mine as a post. So it's a mobile master list that people can access on mobile because pages don't work on the app. And I know a lot of people are app users. So that was a conscious choice that I made about a year into being a writer. I removed the pages of my blog and made it into a post, or several posts, but one main post. And it's very important to me that it's easy accessible. I have a link. I had someone ask actually, and I haven't been on my computer. I'm gonna answer that ask. Somebody asked me how to put a link in the description. I'm gonna answer that on my blog when we're done with the show. I have seen it. But there's a code you can put into your description and have links in your description. And I have frequently asked questions and master list and tag lists, I think. The three things that I get asked the most about are on there. So
One thing
that's
I've
important.
noticed when it comes to the master list is being careful how many links you have in there, because if it starts to get super long, you need to break it out, or you're gonna have a bunch of links that don't work. So staying on top of that and making sure you have it organized well. If it's not well organized, people can't find what they're looking for anyway.
Yeah, it's even no matter if you're using pages or if you're using a post. I think that's a matter of preference. I think Erin is using pages, and I know that Steph, Torn and Fried that we had on last week prefer pages. And that's definitely a conscious choice. I just made a separate conscious choice.
But yeah, mine, every time I've tried to go in and make it mobile accessible, somehow it manages to screw everything up and erase like 90% of what I have, or change a bunch of the links to where it all links to just 4 or 5. So I got horribly frustrated and quit fighting with it. And that was, like I said, yours was, making yours mobile was a conscious choice. Mine turned into okay, for the sake of my sanity and not having to go back and
I never
find
had
all
that
these every
problem.
time.
I had my links break on the first master list I had, but I think it has something to do with the number of them, and that was early on, which is a segue to this question. It was within the first year I had my blog, and when it get above, back then when it got above 100 links, it would break. Now I think it's 200 or 300 a post can hold, so it's a bit more. And to answer the question, we have all been writing for around 3 years. We're not new writers. Erin and Rachel and I are all working on books. So we're not just fan fiction writers, if there has to be a just in there.
Yeah, that's just how we kind of all got started on it. I had always done short stories and poems.
Yeah, no. I started writing original fan fiction. Yeah, well, that's a matter of opinion, if we are new or not. I have been writing fiction since I was 15 years old. I'm 30 now.
That depends on the definition.
Yeah, it depends on the definition. I started publishing things in magazines and short stories and whatnot, and I got away from it for a while, and fan fiction was my way back to realize how much I love writing. I have a book I'm in the final stages of editing, and I'm gonna publish hopefully during the spring. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna be arguing with someone in the chat right now. We're gonna continue off our doc.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep following. We have
on
writing.
Let's see. Do we talked about the master list and accessibility?
Yeah, so next
Rachel, what is your preference? Is that
for master list?
Post or
I don't think I have a preference either way. I just want to be able to. I think I just want to mainly be able to find things. I'm out of the three of us, I am definitely the least organized person. Without a shadow. Everyone, three of us all, and know that I am the absolutely least. I'm organized now. I don't have any methods to the madness. I just kind of more float along there. So
I'm the one that's yelling at her, Rachel, I need to find it fic. It's not on your master list. Put it on.
Search the blog for it. Just have a search bar. Just search for it. That's my method of. I'd rather be just search for it, but I don't really have a preference as far as pages posts. I just want to be able to find it. My main thing is even less so than having a master list. Just being able to search your blog makes it a million times easier for me.
Yeah.
Yes, tags. People use tags.
Tags and have the search function on your blog. That's also a main thing for writers too. Even if you're just doing reblogs, if you want people to be able to find all the amazing fics that you read and reblog, have the search function on your blog, so people can search the D-Next Reader tag, or search the smut tag, or search the fluff tag, or whatever you tag.
Right.
And next on our list is formatting fics. Do you guys have a preference on how fics should be formatted? Do you think it's important at all? Do you think the readers notice, or is it just our obsessive compulsiveness that makes us format in a different way, a certain way?
Karina wants things formatted in a certain way.
She most definitely does.
My only, as a reader, the only thing I really want to see on there is, like you said, those longer fics. I want to see that keep reading to where it'll open up separately. Because if I'm just randomly, scrolling through, killing a couple minutes, and suddenly I come across a 10,000 word post and it doesn't have that in there, it drives me crazy. So as a reader, I would say that's my one big thing.
Definitely.
But as far as a writer, yes, I have something very specific that I do that has kind of developed over time where, okay, this is going to be, here's the title, here are the characters, here's your summary, here's your word count, here's your warnings, my little author's note. Okay, so that should be able to give people an idea of whether or not it's something they want to continue to read. If they do, great. Hit that keep reading and move on. If not, that's cool too. Because I know for me, sometimes what I feel like reading depends on my mood. And it may be an amazing story. I just might not be in the mood to read it at that moment. So that at least kind of helps me filter through what I'm looking for. So I also try and carry that over when I'm writing as well.
Yeah. I cut out I had my characters, all characters in the fic listed at the top. And I remember I did that as a service when I started out because I knew that there were some people. Yeah. I think there were some people that
I think that's something
that didn't want to read stuff with Castiel, or that didn't want to read stuff with Lucifer, or didn't want to read stuff with Crowley or whatnot. And I kind of got over that, and people know what I write now, or that's what I assume. I have been writing for 3 years, and if people get pissed that Cass are in my fics, then I shouldn't be reading my fics, because he's gonna be in most of them as a side character, even if it's the next reader.
Yeah, I don't list
So
every single character. That would be too tedious.
yeah, I did that. I did that up until recently and decided not to. But I have my pairing. I have my word count.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
I don't have a summary because I suck at summaries. I have an AN and I have what else do I have?
And for me, the summary is kind of like reading the back of a
At
book.
some of these bingos I'm doing, rating is not optional not to have on. So that is on some of my fics. So I gotta say I don't. It's a headache. I don't like rating things because I was raised very, very free spiritedly. I was watching. I have two siblings that's 11 and 13 years older than me. And I watched the same movies they watched, and I read the same things they read. So to me, it's I'm very loose with the you have to be this age to read this. If your parent is okay with it, I don't give a shit. So
yeah, I don't even remember exactly what it was that got me to start doing like that separate line. I think it was someone had asked because since I write in multiple fandoms and multiple characters, when people were looking through stuff, I think someone mentioned something about, hey, it'd be cool if you'd list this. So I just went, okay, I can do that. So I do like either if it focuses on just one character, if there's a specific pairing or something like that, I throw that on there. But yeah, pretty much everything I write apart from a Drabble, if I ever do Drabble games again, has that on there.
Yeah, oh, and the thing that I always have on mine, I had to put on a little less than a year ago. I had my fics stolen constantly. And people say,
God.
oh, but we give you credit, so it's okay.
No.
So now I slap a big fat, do not take stuff off my blog unless I give my explicit consent that you do so. So that is slapped on every single. I went back on all my old fics and slapped that on there because I got so annoyed that my stuff got stolen, and that was the excuse. You have to ask me. My answer will always be no. There's nobody posting my stuff but me. With the exception of a few aesthetic that I use as contests, or not contests, challenges.
Yeah.
And I say you can grab this and use it on your blog, and that's okay.
I don't have a format.
No, you don't, and it drives me crazy.
It is true. Occasionally, the only reason I know what I'm getting into is because I know you and I read a lot of your stuff, so I know where things are going, or I recognize the title, and I'm like, hey, all right. But yeah.
You're seriously lucky if the pairing is on there, much less the word count.
Yeah. You get pretty much with me. What you reliably can get is probably the pairing, occasionally the word count. Pretty much always at least an author's note and who my beta was. Those are pretty much all my guarantees. Everything else is kind of like maybe you get it, maybe you don't. You never really know.
That is so true.
What about GIFs, guys?
Do it.
What about GIFs or pictures or whatnot on Fics? How do you feel about that? Is that important, you think?
I always have one because I think it's more eye-catching. I've noticed for myself, if I'm just scrolling around, having something visual like that makes it stand out a bit more. So I started doing that just to help.
Oh my God, was that Wilma?
Yeah.
Aww. Bless the little fuzz's heart.
She's just like,
unless he rolls in sugar, which is another great snap video.
If you guys want, you can have my Snapchat. It's mostly just me and my cat.
It's like me and Facebook. I'm like, it's me, my cats, and food because I love to cook.
Put a Snapchat.
And it's just great when Rachel gets annoyed. She gets very southern. It's just when you first you knock over the sugar and then you roll around in it. Very sudden and very drawn out words.
Y'all are nuts, is what you are.
I'm mocking two Southern people just saying, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because you know what comes to the screen and stuff inside the head.
Rachel, do you think a GIF on the top of a fic matters?
Yeah. I think people, like, let's be honest. If you see a GIF of Dean, you're going to stop. Let's be real.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Which makes
fair enough. See that it's you're gonna pause going, oh, like even if you don't look at anything else, you're just gonna stop for a second and go,
yeah,
and move on.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I always do it myself, but I think it's more compulsive than it is. I think.
See, I also just like having that space filled.
Yeah.
Like I like having, because you have that kind of empty space, and I like having something there to fill it.
Yeah, I like that being something between the header and the fic actually starting. That's kind of what I use it for. But again, to talk about a guest we had last week, Steph Torn and Fright, she never uses skips or anything. She once in a while slaps an aesthetic or something on there, but usually she doesn't have anything, and she does just fine. And I don't think
there's no one size fits all. Everyone's going to be a little
different. I don't think there's a. Maybe it makes a difference when you're new, and it has something to do with people recognizing that it's Steph and they know what they. I don't know. Maybe for a few people it makes a difference, but in general, I don't think it makes a whole heck of a lot of a difference. It's just what you find aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And moving on.
We have the queue.
Yeah. How do you guys use a queue, and why do you use a queue?
The queue is your best friend when it comes to doing a blog because it helps keep everything active even if you're not on there. So I stay, pretty busy. I work full time. I'm, in charge of AV at my church. I do, other stuff. I like to have a life once in a while. But if your blog doesn't stay active, people aren't going to notice it. So using that queue helps keep it active, even if you can't be on there very often. It helps keep things going, and that's how I do the majority of any reblogs, recommendations. A lot of my responses to people's feedback I do through there, because it just helps keep everything active, and I don't have to worry about, okay, have I checked it in a while? Is there still something coming up, just to keep it relevant and keep people finding it across the way.
I don't put my responses and stuff in the queue. I'm really trying to figure out a way to get more organized about replying to people's feedback without having to reply to everything, because that would be a cluster and take a whole heck of a lot of time I could use writing, but I'm trying to get more organized about it.
Yeah, I say using the queue, but the responses, I actually schedule those for specific times. And you guys know me, I'm very OCD and into coordinating everything. I have a color-coded spreadsheet that helps me track where to post what. So I go in and schedule responses, but any of my recommendations or just other random things I want to post go through the queue.
I literally cannot even remember to post fics on my page. She has a color code.
Yeah, I promised I would post a saline fic last night, and I didn't because I went out drinking. So I guess what I'm doing when we're done here, I'm posting a fic.
I want to know more about, because all I got was a message from you that said you blamed your friend for that, and I want to know how he was involved.
He was going out drinking with his friends, and I was like, no, I can't, because I got work tomorrow, and I got this thing with Rachel tomorrow, and I don't have time. And he just kept bugging me, and just come for one drink. and he decided that one drink should be shots instead.
Oh, shots are
So
fun.
Nice.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have IGOP work in 6 hours. I blame Sam for this. THIZ. So this.
I don't know what that means. Sam is not Winchester, by the way. He's my friend, my coworker.
Tells me the weird one.
So.
And then I'll have I can spell just got Goffier, GOFFIER, Goffier thumbs. TH.
I can spell. No, you can't.
Than usual, and no wool. WOLL. Too correct. Too correct is one word.
Shut up.
And then there are messages that I don't remember sending.
Rachel, how do you use a queue instead of marking?
As everybody else, I just keep my blog active because I have school and I have work and I have the resemblance of a social life and I can't be glued to my computer 24/7. So I on a day where if I happen to have a day where I don't have anything to do, which is not today, I have so much to do right now. I have a test tomorrow that I haven't even started studying for.
To me, it's not so much. Sorry, you were still talking.
I was still talking. You talked over me.
You need those stop signs, I'm telling you.
I know. But main thing is just if I have a day where I can just bulk up my queue, it'll have a million things going. And the way you know it's a queue is because we have our queue. Everyone has their own kind of queue tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know Erin's is just queue, Rachel's is I'm studying.
Yes. Yeah, I'm lazy. I'm just like one letter, boom, done.
Mine is Cash Watches over queue. Yeah, I use mine for two separate reasons. The one that you both mentioned, the second, I tend to be in a mood to sit down and read. And if I read 20 fics in a span of 2 hours, I'm gonna spam someone and make someone very angry at me.
Exactly. I've made that mistake before, and that's when I started going, okay, so maybe this isn't the best option.
Yeah, so it's partly not to spam, and it's partly to keep it active. I'm running the SPN Angst Bingo with Taylor and with Stephanie. That's Impala Imagining and Torn and Fried. And we don't use a queue to keep it active. We just use a queue to space out the fics because one of us sits down maybe once a week and we're just going to queue everything that we were tagged in for the bingo, and it's going to run by itself. So that's just to space things out and not to reblock a crap load of fics at one point at one time and then have it be quiet for a week or two. So that's mainly how we use it there. So there are different reasons to use it. How about interacting with your followers? How important is that to a writing blog, or is it more a personal preference, you think?
I think it's huge. If you're wanting to grow any sort of audience or make a name for yourself, get yourself known in any way, shape, or form, you have to have some sort of relationship that you're building with your followers. Because if people just see, one little story, oh, that's nice. But if you start to build a relationship with them, they're more likely to come back and tell other people and share stuff. And that's really, I think, how a lot of things grow, not just fan fiction blogs, but just writing blogs in general, writing platforms. You have to have some sort of interaction if you want to see that flourish. As far as what's the best way to do that, I think that really varies from person to person. I like responding to as many comments as I can. But I'm not always able to respond to everything. It's like I'm never able to respond to everything, but I try and respond to a fair amount of it. Again, that's why I do the scheduling and the queue and all of that. because I've noticed in doing that, I actually do gain more followers. It's, much slower. But also doing that, you meet some great friends. That's how I met y'all, and it's just good. I think regardless of your focus, having that interaction just makes having the blog more satisfying in general.
Yeah. My thought when I reply to feedback and interact with people is it's not really a selfish thing. It's more a giving back thing. When it comes to that, I do a lot of other things for selfish reasons and trying to try and gain followers and try and gain my Fics attention and stuff, and that's why I'm writing. So I have to promote it somehow. So I'm not saying don't be selfish at all. But the reason I'm replying to feedback and stuff is more to show people that I'm actually appreciative.
Right.
That they that they take the time and sit down and because I know it can be hard as hell I'm both a reader and a writer, and leaving feedback can be hard.
Yes.
Getting to the end of something and compiling all your thoughts into a semi-decent response when you reblog is hard. And I'm saying that, and I'm a writer. And then try and never have written anything in your entire life and have to do that. So I'm really appreciative of the people that take the time
Yes.
to sit down and leave me something, whether it's an ask or a review or a reblog or whatever. But it's also a giving back thing. And like you said, I met you and I met Steph solely through Tumblr. Rachel I met in the SPN fanfics pond chat group. But you and Steph I met solely through Tumblr, and you're two people that I still talk to 3 years later. And that was by interacting about each other's fics.
Yeah.
So it's also I met people that are really, really important to me, both personally and as a writer doing this. So when people reach out to me, I can't be a friend to everyone, but I can be friendly to everyone.
Right.
If they're friendly to me. So that's definitely something I have in mind. Not try and scare people away from opposing other bloggers and developing these kind of relationships that I have been lucky enough to develop through my writing.
Not gonna lie, I stopped listening like 5 minutes ago.
Huh?
Thanks, Rach. Love you too.
Well, Kari talking and
keeps so much love radiating right now.
He keeps going, and I'm like,
Rachel.
Yes.
You hungover.
You've known us for how many years? You expect us to give a short yes/no answer? Come on.
Do you interact with your followers, and how? And if not, is it just because it's a time issue, or is it because
there are a lot of time issues? There's also a lot of organizational issues that I lack,
which I've offered to help you with numerous times.
Yeah, don't let Erin help you with that. You will end up with a spreadsheet that gives you a headache.
I will get a headache anyway.
I love you too. Man, I'm just feeling it over here.
I don't know how to teach her myself. I just know Rachel well enough to know that she would be whining for weeks if you gave her a spreadsheet.
I would not necessarily give her a spreadsheet. For me. I like having the visual representation and the checklist. Okay, mark that off.
Yeah,
I got Rachel started on using a planner.
I know, I'm so proud.
We are slowly getting there. It only took 2 years.
Yeah, just. No, the question is, does she actually update the planner?
Yes,
she does. She's actually pretty good at using it now.
I would die. It's got all my school stuff in it.
How did you work a year or a year and a half in college without a planner?
It didn't go well.
No. Dumbass.
Well, even though, granted, there's one good thing was, it was my freshman year, so it's a little bit less strenuous as it is now.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier, especially as now I've gotten into my upper level classes. It's a little
Yeah,
bit.
but you might as well get used to it now. If you want to work at a museum, there's gonna be a lot of meetings and a lot of tours you had to give,
I'm aware. I'm reading books
and
about
and you are gonna forget half of them if you don't have them in your planner.
it. Okay. Okay. Rachel's just gonna end this early.
Okay.
I have you guys.
How
I have.
we're talking about running a writing book. How important is gaining followers? Or is it solely the notes on the fics that are important, or is it important to have a big number on your blog, attached to your blog as well?
You guys are significantly larger blogs than I am, so have at it.
I'm not that big. I'm not a. Karina's the biggest of us, so.
True. I'm the littlest.
Yeah. I don't remember the number.
Between the two, I would rather the fic itself get more recognition. Because
yeah,
even if
that
I
was
don't get
just
more
what I was
followers,
about to say. I don't really feel the difference between when I had 2,000 followers and now when I have 9,000 and something. I don't feel that big a difference in my fics. I feel there's a difference in Tumblr, and it's harder to get notes now, and it's harder to get feedback now. But I don't think that has anything to do. I don't think that has anything to do with the followers.
Like gaining the followers is nice, but if I have a ton of followers and there's not a single like, comment, anything on what I'm writing, it really makes it hard to keep writing. While I love doing it, if I don't think anyone else is enjoying it, I probably won't do it as much just because it feels like I'm throwing it out there to the wind and nothing comes back.
But this is one of those things that are very, very dangerous to talk about, because I am very appreciative of the followers I get. I am very appreciative of the likes I get on fics. And I know that the likes are super important now, since the best of first crap has been
killed a lot of blogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Rainy. Is that Ryan?
Ren.
I'm butchering someone's name. Let Americans help me.
It's Ren.
I got it.
Ren. Okay. She says that to write for herself and count the followers as a plus. I certainly write for myself, but I do share. It's kind of a double-edged thing, because I write for myself. Yes, I would go insane without writing, I think. But I also write for people. I write in the hopes that what I write, the themes that I write, resonate with someone. And
we don't write to keep it to ourselves.
Right.
No, I know it's a thing everyone says. You have to write for yourself. Yes, you have to write for yourself. You have to be happy with what you write, or it will be crap. That's right. But there's also another side of it. If you think back about the comments you have gotten on Fics, the comments that have made me the most happy is people saying they really relate to this, or that it made them smile. It made them cry, but they needed to feel it, or it made it something that had an emotional impact, or somebody that it resonated with them somehow. So that's definitely part of the reason why I write.
Yeah, writing is hard. It's not just sitting down and slapping something on a page, although you can do that if you want to. But it's, very time consuming, and if you really want to make it the best that you can. You put a lot of time and effort and a lot of yourself into it. It's a very tedious process. So getting that feedback is great.
I have two things. I have drabbles and stuff that I write and I just bang them out. And I know I didn't put a lot of work into them. It's not the best that I can do, but it keeps my blog active. And then I have the fics that I sit down and I spent weeks on weeks writing. Put research into them, and I know that you both do the same because we're all beta for each other. So we yeah. That's a Ren. Was that the right way to say it? I'm so sorry, sweetie. I really agree with that. Hearing someone. Yeah. That's an amazing comment to get.
The comment was just for people who are watching later and won't be able to read our chat.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't think about that.
Good job, Kari.
That's why I have a Rachel.
Yes, you did. The comment if you shut up. The best comment that I ever received was that my fic helped someone through a trauma that she's gone through.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's like,
that's the kind of stuff we can all hope to ever get.
That's why we write. That's really why we write.
But you don't know who else you're writing for. It's like, yes, we write for ourselves, but you're also writing for that person who you can help. And that's why writing, that's one of the reasons writing is so important.
Right. Agreed.
And it's also, sometimes we write to get our own traumas out. And maybe it will resonate for someone else. I had to use our guest's fic. I don't remember the name of your miniseries, but you had an unpleasant experience on the road, and you wrote a Jared miniseries.
Yeah, that was fun.
That really resonated. What was the name of that one?
That's a great question. Let me look it up. I'm suddenly drawing a blank.
I
write a lot of stuff, and Erin is very, very tired.
We want to link to the things that you talk about, and since I brought it up.
It's called Facing Your Fears, and essentially what prompted all of that is I was coming back from the theater, having seen The Sound of Music with a friend of mine, and someone, for lack of a better term, road raged all over my vehicle. They started tailgating us very randomly. I will preface it by saying I was already going over the speed limit. It was at night. They were so close to the back of my car that the only thing you could see in any of the mirrors were their headlights. And they eventually got to the point where they came around, started throwing stuff into the side of my car while we're going down the interstate at, 75, 80 miles an hour. They eventually got out of their vehicle, and I got all the way over to the far side to try and avoid them, and they got out of their car and started throwing things and shattered my windshield. So it was a very less than fun experience, and for a good 2-3 weeks, I could barely sleep because every time I closed my eyes, I was reliving that moment. While in the moment, I was very calm, because that tends to be my response to crisis, is I'm as cool as a cucumber, and then as soon as it's over, I'm the adrenaline wears off and I start shaking uncontrollably. And so I sat down and wrote that to try and get that out, and it actually really helped a lot, because it forced me to confront some of that. While I may not be comfortable talking about it, it helped me confront some of that and start moving past it and actually start getting some sleep again, which is very, very needed, because when Erin does not sleep, she's very crabby, and then she can't control her accent, and no one can understand a word she's saying.
Yes, they can. You just don't think they can. I have talked to a very tired, very oaky Erin, and I can understand her just fine.
You have practice.
It's when using lingo is when she gets messed up.
I do what?
What?
When we start using colloquial terms like lingo.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dialect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when we.
I've even tripped Rachel up with a few of my sayings because I grew up in a very, very small rural town and
It's
occasionally
just it.
turns of phrase that throw people for a loop.
But I've talked to a lot of American. I watched a lot of American movies, so I got a lot of things that stuck. But
Mhm.
even Steph, that's from the mid, she's not Southern, sometimes
Mhm.
says a word where I'm like, huh? Either explain it or I need to look up Urban Dictionary. So yeah, that's a few phrases that I haven't heard. But I like when you guys say it because I pick it up and I sometimes stick it in my fix.
And then you said
So
Yes,
to
you
your
do.
mom too.
I what?
The time where you said something to your mom that was a Rachelism.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
And then she
Educating the
crossed her
world one random phrase at a time.
I don't know. I know. I'm saying, oh my god, a lot now, and that's a racialism.
Yeah, and her mom called her out on it, and I love it.
Hmm, yeah. I talked. The long and short is I talk too much to Rachel. She's
I
contagious.
mean, yeah.
Um.
You make me sound like a disease.
No,
And
you're not a disease, you're a delight.
I think I might,
well.
in my own words, I'm more of a disease.
Maybe a little bit of an acquired taste, but still delightful.
Well. Oh, more like weed. Once it sticks, you never get rid of it.
Oh,
Oh my
Lord.
god.
um. Okay, so what's the trick to gaining followers? What's the trick to getting noticed without rambling like a crazy person on YouTube for
You
hours
know, that's
about
a
nothing?
great question. And if I ever figure it out, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I think
um,
especially with the Tumblr algorithms of changing, I don't think anybody knows anymore.
yeah, like when they changed those algorithms, it completely changed the ball game, and I've yet to crack that code. I'm working on it. Um, but it's very, very difficult. I think that's why reblogs are
Let
so
me say
important.
this to people that are starting out. I have 9,000 plus followers. My fics have dropped a good solid 100 notes
Yeah.
per thing I post.
Mhm.
So things get around 100 notes now, and my DNX reader get 200 if I'm lucky. A few times they grow, but still, stuff that I'm used to posting that got 300-400 notes now get 200-300 notes. Um, so it really did change the ball game. And if I was starting out, I don't even want to know what that meant.
The only thing I could think of at this point to do is, if you're starting out, writers who enjoy the characters you're using or that specific genre, maybe ask them if you can tag them in it. Um, and tag some people in some fics so that way, maybe they'll read it and enjoy it and start reblogging it because those notes are so important now with the way they've got those algorithms written. So that's why I spend time doing the tags. While they're tedious and kind of crazy, that's why I do it.
Okay,
One, because
yeah, there's a to that. Instead of going around and asking 100 people if you can tag them, there's a few tricks. You can become a member of the SPN fanfic pond, who have been very gracious at supporting this show as well. But they have a tag list, and it's a list of people that likes being tagged in different characters, in different kinks, in different AUs and different genres, and you can go look at that, and you can tag people of that. And if you're not interested in becoming a member of that, though, you don't have to do anything. You just have to send them an ask, and they accept everyone. Um, you can also um, go follow Mrs. Who She What's Is on Tumblr, and she has a tag sheet. as well, with people that are interested in being tagged in different things. So there are a few seats, and that's for supernatural people. So we are very lucky. We have a few people that does that for the fandom. Create your own tag list with people that ask to be tagged in your fics. Always have a specific tag list per series.
Yes.
So that maybe people don't want to read all your Samex reader, but they really love this Samex reader, even though they usually just read Dean. So they have the option of just being tagged in that. And use hashtags. You don't just tag people. Use hashtag and only use hashtags that applies to your fic. I cannot stress that enough.
Yes.
Because if you tag something Dean X Reader or Dean Smut and it's Sam X Reader and Sam Fluff or whatnot, you're gonna piss some people off because it's gonna be in the wrong tag and they won't read your stuff. You're just gonna piss them off, and they won't. People have an elephant memory when it comes to stuff like that. They won't read your stuff again. So use text, but use the right text. Keep reading when it's above 500 words. A lot of people do not reblog if it doesn't have keep reading. And reblogs are your friends. It spreads the word. If you like something, reblog it. If you like something, comment on it. There's a big chance that somebody is more willing to repay the favor if you have done it for them.
Yes.
So
and
the
people
more
may not think
active,
we realize it, but we do
a
recommend.
reader, the more active a reader and blogger you are, the more chances there is that people will pay attention to you and be willing to read your fics. Yeah. I gotta say, even though I try and spread the love on my blog, if 5 people tag me in something and I've only got time to read one, I'm gonna choose the one whose URL I know. If it's a URL that sent me an ask or a reblog, I might not remember that, but I'm gonna choose a URL that I know. And I know I know that sounds bitchy and but it's really just me trying to pay back what has been given to me. I think other people do it as well. I think people are reluctant to fess up to it, but I think other people do it as well.
Yeah, I have a system where I go in and I keep going through comments, and anything I've been tagged in, I will always at least take a look at it. And I read at least 90% of it. Now, that may mean I only get to read, a very small handful, fix one week, and the next week I get to read a whole lot. I will at least always take a look at them, but that just means it may be a while before I, get to yours. And if I read it, I'm going to like it. I'm going to comment on it in some way, shape, or form.
Can I just say you really want Erin as a reader? Because your fics get a little booster shot about 2-3 weeks after you wrote it, and that's where all the attention around it usually have died off. And it gets a little booster shot because it takes Erin a week or 2 to get to it, and then it takes about a week for it to get through her queue, and then it reblogs, and all of a sudden, like, why is this fic getting notes again? Erin's queue spit it out.
You're welcome.
It's the same with yours.
Yeah, I usually have about a week to 10 days worth of material in my queue at any given point in time.
Yeah, mine does the same thing, but do you know who I learned that from? I started putting everything in my queue with comments from Erin. So
again, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Occasionally the OCD works in my favor.
But again, I'm just on my FAQ. If some people are listening, I never I never mind being tagged and stuff. Some weeks I barely get any tags anymore, and other weeks I get 15, 20, and I can't get through that. But I try. But in my FAQ, it says if I write it, I read it. So if it's something that you know that I write, don't tag me in Winters, don't tag me in Semifer, because I don't read it, I don't write it. It's not skip shaming, it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But if you write Daniel, if you write Destiel, if you write Polly Destiel X Reader or Daniel X Reader, or if you write Dean X Reader or Sam X Reader or Cass X Reader, you feel free to tag me, and I'll try and get through reading as much as I can. I don't just read what I ask to be tagged in. I use tags a lot. What's in my notifications is what I read first.
Yeah.
And then once in a while I read something because it pops up on my desk. But mainly I just read what's in my notifications.
Yeah. If I have to split
so
time,
if you want my attention, you need to tag me.
Yeah, I'll look at my dashboard, but if I'm pressed for time, I'm gonna do what someone's taken the time to tag me in first.
Yeah. Also because I know how tedious tagging is. It's the most annoying thing in the world. So I know if people take the time to tag me, I'm gonna try and find the time to read it. Again, if it's a pairing that interests me. And getting interacting is a good way to get noticed, I think. And we're talking about feedback. We covered that, I think, responding to feedback. So we have a few questions. If I don't know how many people are watching, but if anyone has any questions about running a fanfiction blog or any questions for Erin or Rachel and I in general, just feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll respond to them as they pop up. I think a lot of the fandom is stuck in Vegas listening to J2 right now. I don't know why they'd rather listen to those two than me and Rachel, but meh.
I would rather listen to those two than us.
I'm not gonna lie, I love y'all to pieces. Yeah. What if I had to choose? Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, not even if I had to choose, I would just randomly choose. I would just choose it.
Hey, by the way, Jensen was on Danish TV today.
Yay!
Yay! He last night he had Kari something from Slipknot visit.
I have no idea.
In Vegas, and they sung Dead or Alive together. And we have this show in Denmark that Rex albums and that Rex concerts and stuff. And they have this little under the radar thing at the end, and they rec different things, either small obscure concerts they've seen during the week or something they found on YouTube. And one of the female hosts, she found the video from last night of Rachel of Jensen singing with the Slipknot guy. So, and she was praising him and said that she hoped that there was a rock album in his future.
Don't we all?
So I was proud. Yeah, I was proud, and I might have sent an email to the show with more links to stuff that he's sung in hopes that they stalk him and invite him to Denmark. Okay, we have Mana What that sent us a question, and she is one of the lovely admins at the SPN Fanfic Pond that we talked about earlier. For the writer's room, what is your favorite way to keep in contact with your followers? Let's do one at a time.
For me, I love the reblogs because I love the back and forth that starts there. If you just send an ask, which I love asks, I absolutely do, because that means someone's taken the time to go one step further, to not just, hit a little button at the bottom of my fic, but to go find that extra step to send that to me. I love the conversations that happen back and forth in the reblogs. you know, I love to use GIFs. Kari has joked before about how I have the magical file because I can find a GIF for just about anything.
Yeah. If I need a GIF or something, I usually just go yell at Erin. It's much easier than search all of Tumblr or Google.
It is. Erin has a file of things that she keeps, and I just love that. It's so much fun to interact that way with your readers, to get that back and forth. And it's also a way to have kind of a facial expression, because so much gets lost in translation when you're just in a chat. But being able to have that inflection, for lack of a better term, is a lot of fun for me. So I love going back and forth and seeing that. And some of the reaction GIFs I've seen on stuff, like, I literally almost fall out of my chair laughing because some of them are just amazing.
For feedback, I most certainly prefer reblogs because it spreads the fics. But I love people just sending me random asks and starting a conversation, and maybe it's gonna be a reblog back and forth, or they're just gonna send a few asks. But I love that. Anything friendly is always welcome in my inbox.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Rachel?
Yeah.
What's your favorite way of keeping in contact with your followers?
I like asks.
Little Miss Hangover.
You're hungover too, so nothing. No words from you.
I'm still talking way more than you are because I got Coke.
You got what?
Pop. Coke.
Oh.
Coca-Cola.
The reason
I'm not snorting stuff. I'm drinking a brown liquid.
Sounds very different if that was true.
I like asks. I don't know why. I just like asks. There's no reason. No method to the madness.
Okay, then Mana asked, what is the most rewarding part of being a fanfic writer? Let's start with Erin again.
I think it goes back to kind of what we had a conversation about before. When you get that comment from someone saying that, you know, something you've written touched them or helped them deal with something, that makes sometimes the hours, weeks, months you've spent working, crying, wanting to rip out your hair, writing a piece, makes it all worth it. Like, just that one comment.
Yelling at your poor betas.
Hey, you bring it on yourself. We'll get to that later, sister. But yeah, it makes it worth it to spend that time. Even if I've had fics that I've put out there and I'm like, man, this is not my best stuff, but I don't know if I can get anything else out of this, but I'm going to go ahead and post it. And then you get a comment from someone saying that they could relate to it. It helped them with something they're dealing with. And I'm like, all right, cool. That was worth it. I'm totally fine with the fact that I accidentally stayed up until 3 a.m. editing this bad boy and then had to be at work and be perky at 8 o'clock. You know, it makes it worth it.
I had a comment recently that made me really, really proud. I had someone reblog my Danielix reader timestamp to my Old Flames New Spark series.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that reading this series and these timestamps was really opening up their mind to the idea of poly relationships. And that made me really proud. And I'm not thinking it's just being in one, it's just the openness and that love is love. And it doesn't really matter what shape or form it comes in. Was that Meg?
Was what?
Somebody meowed really loud, and I just kind of assume it's Meg. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a loud meow. It's Meg. Short for Megara, one of my cats. I often joke she is the reason I can't have nice things. I love her to pieces, but she's a tiny terror.
Oh. Last time I talked to Erin, I think she screamed 6 times because she kept attacking her feet and ankles.
Yeah, anyone who has ever spent a significant amount of time on the phone or in a chat with me, verbally or with video, at some point has heard me go damn it, Meg, at least once. It's a daily occurrence. I swear it's my mantra half the time. Yes, I'm looking at you. She just suddenly stopped what she was doing and turned and looked at me with this what look on her face. And I'm like, yeah, you.
We have Ren ask us again. I'm new to Tumblr. This might have been come up, but what's a good way to get started? I think interacting is a good way to get started. I know it can be really, really hard to send asks or IMs to a person you don't know. But I think I said this before. We are really, really lucky that when you try and make new friends, you need to try and find a common ground. You talk about what they do for work or what their hobbies are. With these people we already know, we have supernatural in common. So send an ask and talk about, hey, how about that Dean isn't too hot? Or how about I just read this fic and I really think you would enjoy it? Or I just read your fic and this part is amazing. Or just strike up a conversation with people. I have rarely seen anyone be rude to someone that's just being nice. And if they are, it's 1 in a million and they are not really worth hanging around anyway. So brush it off and try the next person. I'm sure they are gonna be nice. And Rachel, what is most rewarding part about being a fanfiction writer?
Well, I don't got much.
You are suspiciously silent today, and it makes me wonder what you're plotting.
I'm just tired, guys.
She's not
hungover.
plotting.
Don't let her fool you. She's just hungover.
Yeah, she's just a hungover college kid.
I'm tired.
It's your own damn fault.
It was fun though.
You drank it, you deal with it.
My problem was I didn't drink enough water.
That's typically what happens. Yeah.
That was my biggest.
The former bartender, yeah, that's typically what happens.
I'm sorry.
Bless you.
This is why I'm suspiciously silent every time I try to talk.
We are getting a cold front from Siberia, and it's really fucking cold. So
see, this is why I'm suspiciously quiet because I can't talk.
Sorry.
Every time I try to talk.
I'm sorry, can't you just say shut up? You usually do at every other time.
What happened to you talking about that magical mute button that you kept threatening us with earlier?
I can do it. I will.
Talk, Rachel. I was just sneezing.
Okay, we're going to mute Kari for a second. I don't know if it worked or not, but I think growing as a writer is my favorite thing. Like I know if you looked at my things that I wrote 3 years ago and then looked at it now, there's a world of difference just between, there's a difference between this year and last year. So I guess just growing as both a writer and just as a person too, because you do grow. Mm-hmm. A lot. Now Kari's gone mysteriously silent.
No, I was just unmuting myself and keeping quiet to prove I could do it. But I agree with that. Though, on the other hand, the downside of growing is going back and reading your crap a year ago.
Oh my God, that's painful. Oh God, when I read some of the first stuff I wrote, and I'm like, and people liked this? Well, holy.
There was one of Rachel's fics were coming back to life a few months ago, and she was screaming and whining at me, I'm gonna delete this, I don't want people reading it.
I still want to take it off my master list.
I still don't think you should, because it kind of shows the growth. I hate when people read my first fics, but...
See, I don't like what my first fics were. like when I first started writing, it was just straight smut. It was cookie cutter. There was nothing special, nothing different about it. And people liked it because it was porn.
But
And
there's nothing wrong with that either. I think we've all done that at some point. You just
well, it
wrote
just
that because you saw that's what was popular, or that's what you felt like writing at the time.
I went from fluff to smut and straight smut and
it just
D-Next reader and
Karina,
I what?
Stop sign.
it just bugs me when like I have all of this growth, and when like say one of the series that was pure smut pops back up, it's like okay, so it almost feels like I grew that much for nothing. You know what? Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's like if the only thing that's getting long lasting attention is the porn, then what? Why? Which is again why going back to the interaction from the readers is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like if the old cookie cutter stuff is the only stuff that's getting any attention, it's discouraging. And it's like you don't want to. What's the point in putting in that effort and growing if? Which is kind of why I want to take. That's my defending myself for wanting to take it off my master list. It's not going to happen because I can't remember to put things on my master list, much less go and take it off.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that.
I think but when it gets attention, does it get feedback or does it just get likes?
Depends. It kind of goes through phases. Sometimes it gets a bunch of likes, sometimes it'll get a couple of reblogs. Nothing ever
Because
steady.
that's a main part. That's a difference between my stuff. When I go back and even when I read the plot heavy things, it might have a lot of notes but very few actual comments and feedback. And I know it's because even though it's plot heavy, the grammar was freaking awful. That was before I started having a beta and I started rereading my stuff, and it was just before I wrote a lot. Um, and but it's mostly likes, and today, even though I have series that get fewer notes, or I have one shots that get fewer notes, they get more feedback now. Um, and the feedback is more detailed, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I think that's how I see that the growth was worth it. Um, and I just think we grow no matter what we do, to be honest. It If we keep writing, we're probably gonna grow.
Wilma's getting into something that sounds like it's not a good thing for her to get into. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Really
If there
fast.
was, Mana asks, Erin, if there was one piece of advice for those hesitant to share their work, what would it be?
Make sure whatever you share of your work is something you can be proud of. Even if you're not where you want to be, make sure it's the type of story that you want to read. Because if it's something you would want to read, then chances are someone else is going to want to read it too.
I think when
Write the
people are
story you want to
hesitant,
see.
when people are hesitant, don't you think it's sometimes because they see a lot of the hate and negative anons that are sent to writers?
Yeah,
And
that's why I
I
said make
think
sure it's something you can be proud of.
that's what keeps some people from sharing their work. But you have to keep in mind that for people,
That's such a small fraction
yeah, it's
of
a
the
small fraction,
responses.
and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I had been writing for a good year before I got my first root one, and it really knocked me on my ass. But it also made me start thinking differently. Do you remember that one? I got 5
Yeah.
asks in a row that just it was just telling me how I wrote things wrong, how where I needed to, where my grammar was wrong and where I misspelled something.
Yeah, I
But
think
as
all
horrible
had
as that was to go
experience.
through in hindsight, it was what made me start using Erin as a beta and start using other people as a beta later. But
Yeah,
it
I think
gave me
that's
a
part of that
push
growth
to be
process
less
that you're
controlling.
talking about. Because the only way we learn and get any better is being told that something doesn't work.
Yeah,
Because if
there's just
you,
a different way. There's just different
there
ways
are
of
better
being
ways
told,
to
and
do it. There are
that
so
was a
much better ways to
horrible
do
way
it.
of being told. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
sometimes even horrible announce makes you think and start doing things a different way. And
Hmm.
I did. I grew from that, and I still get pissed when I see people sending a rude ask listing people's mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I see Americans that make more mistakes than I do, so chill. Don't attack someone
That's
that's
good if
just
you have
starting out.
betas.
No, also before, also in Drabbles, I know, I make mistakes. I'm very well aware that I make grammar mistakes and I make comma mistakes, but I also see Americans that makes a lot of
Yeah.
grammar and spelling mistakes that I'm able to catch as a
Mhm.
non-native speaker. So I'm just go easy on non-native speakers because not all are as confident about their language as
Right.
I am. I have I have a friend of me and Rachel. I'm not gonna mention her name. I actually talked to her the other day, and it was a big hurdle for her to start posting in another language because it was hard for her to learn English.
Hmm.
Um, so starting to write and post in English was hard, and if you are gonna hit someone like that, you can actually cause that they stop.
Yes.
Um, so don't do that. um, one piece of advice for all writers, Erin,
Find a
hit us
good
with your
beta.
knowledge.
Knowledge. That's
Yeah,
funny. Find a good beta. Find a
yeah.
beta that you can trust to give you honest feedback without tearing you down. Um,
I often
because,
hear that it's stupid to have your friends beta because they are not gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say the exact opposite. Find a
yeah.
friend you really, really trust.
Hmm.
And they are not, I'm a beta for both Rachel and for Erin. I'm not gonna let them post shit.
Yeah,
I'm,
exactly.
yeah, I'd rather they hear it from me, they know that love them and
Hmm.
respect them as writers and people, than I'd have them post and have an anon tear them down. Because for and have it be a detail that I'll just let them post because it's easier for them. Um, that is that that's the word. I would never do that, and I know they both beta for me, and I trust them to never let anyone do that to me either. Has
Yeah, I
the
mean,
Rachel returned?
Rachel has returned. Rachel has also pulled out her Italian homework. I'm not gonna lie.
Does the Rachel agree?
The Rachel does agree, and the Rachel would like to add, um, just don't, as a writer, as something I'm facing with right now, don't let yourself burn out.
yeah.
Because like I am dealing with, like I just said, I'm also over here working on Italian because I have an Italian exam tomorrow and I've done none of the homework and I'm behind on homework and I should not have gone out last night, but I did it anyway because otherwise I would burn out. I've
Yeah.
taken a break from writing because otherwise I would burn out.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having to carve out some time for yourself. That's just important as anything else.
So
I kind of got another advice that's in line with Rachel's. Um, she and I are working on something, a secret project we kind of hinted a few times on Tumblr. But when she insisted she weren't gonna write for a while, I kind of forced her to write on that with me.
Yeah.
To show her that there's still fun in it, and I think that helped. I think find something that's gonna be just fun and just gonna be for you. And right now, this is just for me and Rachel. And we are gonna post it eventually. If it gets 10 notes per part, then it gets 10 notes per part. We had a blast doing it.
Well, we had a blast, sort of. Except for you trying to break freaking history.
I still want to break history.
I'm not going to let you. We can alter little things, but you can't break big things.
No, Rachel, you gotta let me at some point. Yeah. Or I'm gonna take away your cats.
No, you're not, because this makes sense. Guys, I think this will all make sense in time. A year from now, if you read this entire fic and you come back and listen to this, it will make sense.
We have questions from the lovely Anna at Percy Winchester 27 as well. And she was gonna watch, but the poor thing fell asleep. I talked to her earlier and she was so tired, and so she's gonna watch later.
I drunk texted her. I forgot about that. What did I say to her?
I
don't know.
I know. I'm
probably something weird. Okay. Question 1. How do you do the show not tell? I've noticed Erin in particular is pretty amazing at that. That's something I really struggle with as well.
Oh, well, thank you first and foremost, because I'm amazing and I love her. Yes, so thank you. The show don't tell thing. In mine, what I try and do is get outside myself and kind of figure, okay, so what's the physical reaction that would happen in that situation? You know, what happens to me if I'm getting angry? Do I notice that, you know, I start feeling warmer? Do I, you know, talk more with my hands? Do I talk faster? Do I talk slower? When I'm nervous, do I bite my lip, twiddle my hair? Use some sort of physical characteristic instead of just saying angry. Go, okay, so physically, how do I show that? What happens to my body when I'm angry? And using that instead. One thing that I heard once is basically adverbs kill stories. So anytime you just use ly at the end of a word. So if you say greatly does X, okay, so how are they doing that greatly? You know, expand on that. Don't just throw that one adverb in there and go, okay, I've got it covered.
It's also just not
you can't ever use them, but just don't make that your always your go-to.
And it's also not just that it makes a story bland. A lot of adverbs makes it wordy as fuck. I can be wordy. I can write long sentences, but you can write a long sentence and still have it flow.
Yes, you can.
But if you have a long sentence and you have 5-10 adverbs in a sentence, it's gonna be wordy as hell, and it's gonna be tedious to read, and you're gonna lose your readers.
You might lose your readers anyway because you're Kari, but
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And also betas help again with the show not tell, I think. I have had Erin yell that at me a few times at least.
Yeah, having a beta too.
I think Rachel has yelled it at me a few times too.
For what?
Though it's show not tell.
Yeah.
I think Rachel has sometimes marked a paragraph and said, "This is a great moment for show not tell." Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So again, betas help a lot, and Anna is good at that as a beta as well. She helped a lot with Kill Zone. so she knows that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. She's an amazing writer. She's an amazing beta, and just because you're an amazing writer doesn't necessarily make you an amazing beta. She got an eye to detail that's phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay. Question 2. I'm asking this question to all 3 of you. How do you guys outline? I know the 3 of you do. Please explain the concept to us lesser mortals. I think we outline in different ways. Rachel, do you want to start?
My outlining is like everything else with me compared to these 2 greater mortals. Is I
whatever.
Like my blog, I am much less organized than literally anybody else, and I'm okay with that. That is my style. It's okay. I've accepted it. But mine's more of a general idea of how whatever I'm writing is gonna go, and then I have a lot of wiggle room. Like mine, when I'm writing, it's a lot more kind of organically grown. Does that make sense? Like it just kind of, I write and I get from point to point to point. Every once in a while. What?
I think I outline pretty much the same way you do, though. I because I have seen your outlines when I go into docs. I do pins or bullet points. I need this to happen. I need this to happen. I need this to happen, and then I write on that.
I still think you do more than I do, though. I do like bare bones.
Yeah.
Because the one time I tried to
do a bit
further, it didn't work out very well for me.
Yeah. We do a bit more with the one that we're writing, but that I think it's more just for us to
be on the same page.
Be on the same page, and so one of us doesn't start riding in the woods while the other's in wherever.
One time where I forgot an entire scene.
Yeah, like that, because we forgot to point out the outline.
Well, in my defense, we added that one in. It wasn't in the original outline.
Yeah, that's true, and we did it when we were really, really tired. So
do things when I don't wanna.
Yeah, I do it very. I rarely outline one shots. If they are seriously complicated, I do once in a while. Or if I leave it off, I usually leave a few notes at the bottom of it saying where I want to go, so I don't come back to it 2 weeks later and have forgotten.
Mine is I signed up for the Angst Bingo, and one of mine is a serial killer AU. Which, Kari, I'm going to need some help with that because I need some help with the psychopath nature.
Okay.
I love how you still go, hey, Kari, I need help. You're writing a crazy person.
Well,
I would like to people that are not watching. I'm a psychology major. I'm not a psychopath. I
know. See, this is when you know your friends and See, okay. Here's just a side note. When I need help with football, when I was writing the football AU, I needed Erin's help. When I'm trying to write, I need Karina's help.
Yeah, I'm the go-to sports person for a lot of people.
I'm not sure how much I like that segue though. When I need help with football, I ask Erin. When I need help with crazy, I ask Karina.
If the shoe fits, that's all I'm saying.
You're right, crazy.
I lost my shoe.
I mean, you like crazy, you like me, so we're good.
Yeah. Well. Okay, Erin, how do you outline?
My outlining process has been evolving and changing. It's pretty involved at this point. I sit down and I find what my main plot points are. What are the main issues that I want to have, the main moments that I want in the story. And I lay those out and figure out what order they're going to go in. And then I start connecting the dots and put little connecting pieces in between, filling out what's going to happen for the entire story. and I put my chapter breaks in there based off of, okay, there's certain things I know I want to have happen here, or I know I want to have happen there. Okay, I know I want a cliffhanger here, so I'm going to cut it off right there. And then when I go back to write that chapter, I do much more detailed. I put in little bits of dialogue I know I'm going to want that I might not have had on the outline previously, and I write off of that. I used to sit down and do that entire process for everything from beginning to end for the entire fic.
How did that work out for you?
I was getting there. But with Forward, my current series that I'm working on, that outline is currently on version 9.0 because I'm doing things outlined in such great detail that when I was writing, if one thing changed, I had to go back and completely rework my entire outline, which is why I'm now putting the outlines at slightly less detail before I'm writing that scene.
And I got blamed for about 6 of those changes, just saying.
Yes, you did, because I'm moving right along, and I was just like reading that, and I was like, damn it, now I gotta change everything! I still managed to keep the main plot points.
That's why you ask the person about crazy before you start outlining and writing.
It worked out.
Crazy as being child trauma. I always have something in Erin's series that I yell at her for. This time it was the child trauma I yelled at her for that she needed to change for some reason. Again, I work with kids and I'm a psychology major, and I also spend a lot of time in courts because I work with people that are kids that are removed from their households. So in Silicon Rough Velvet, I instead of just saying where she needed to change it, I just played the lawyer and yelled objection at her different places.
She did. I'd get back a draft and all of a sudden I would just see a comment off to the side, all caps, objection! And I'm like, oh my God, can I just get through this chapter? I spent about a month and a half writing just that one chapter, because I did so much editing and so much craziness.
What is playing? I'm sorry.
What?
There was an ad for, I don't even know what's playing, but there was an ad and it started playing. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just like, wait, what happened? I'm so lost.
An ad started playing music and I couldn't make it stop.
But yeah, so now I'm doing less heavy detail for future chapters, unless I know there's like a little line of dialogue or a scene that comes to me. I'll go ahead and throw it in that spot just so I don't forget about it. But I don't get into heavy detail outlining on it until I get to writing that chapter as far as series go. One shots, I pretty much just do the whole heavy outline bit before I start. And the reason I started doing that is because a lot of times I can write for 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. I may not be able to just sit down and really work on it. And if I don't have that outline, I forget where I was going with it. So having that helps me make sure I don't forget what I wanted to do.
Yeah, like when you're writing 10 parts of ties that bind and to forget about it and take it down, and your computer has crashed in the meantime, and luckily you had most of the parts in docs, but the 11th part was at my computer that crashed. So I have been trying so hard to figure that part out, because I have a few things in my head that needs to go in that chapter, but I have no idea how to get that done. So I have been working at that a lot. So losing your outline suck. Okay, so I think we're gonna save Anna's last question until we've moved on to the next section, because it's talking about a few of your fics as well. So Erin, you brought a few fics of your own with you. Would you like to present them to us, give us the title and a short summary, and tell us why you're proud of them?
Sure. The first one I brought is the current series that I'm working on. It's called Forward. It is a Jensen X-Reader series.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah.
What?
Sorry. I'm gonna look at the draft
Yeah,
as soon
that's
as we're
been
done here.
sitting there waiting for you to look at it for about a week and a half right now.
Sorry.
I wasn't going to mention it, but thank you for remembering, finally. Love you, Kari. Anyway,
Okay.
back on track. This story is set to where Jensen is a single father. His wife, Danielle, dies shortly after they have JJ. She's just a few months old. Very unexpected, very tragic, and his life becomes all about his daughter and has been that way for several years. And this story is all about him trying to, for lack of a better term, move forward in his life and learn that, you know, it's okay to live again, and all of the craziness that happens with that. This one I actually intend on turning into a novel at some point, so I've spent a lot more time developing it and editing it and spent a lot more care with it than I did things I've written previously, because I now look at the way I write very differently. Because I am working on an original novel and I plan on turning that into one at some point also.
Yeah. And the next one, why are you proud of this one?
I just said that. I answered it. I didn't know if I was supposed to keep going or shut the hell up. So I just shut the hell up.
Okay, the next one you brought is Hallelujah, which is a one-shot, and it's Jen's next reader. You want to talk a little bit about
I
that?
noticed when I brought the ones I was most proud of, there's a lot of recurring themes here.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
Jensen.
Hey, a lot of that is because I put out, okay, here are some things I'm looking at writing next. Which do you guys want? And inevitably, when I put it to a vote, that's always what wins. So no more voting because I want to write something other than Jensen. I love Jensen. Don't get me wrong. I love writing him as a character, but I do have other interests that I want to write as well. But Hallelujah is a one-shot. It's a song fic based off of the Leonard Cohen song Hallelujah. And it is about the end of a relationship and looking back at it as it's ending. Basically, Jensen the Reader going in to record a couple covers on an album with Jason for his Covers with Friends album. And it starts with them getting ready to go in and deciding, you know, whether or not they're going to tell everyone that, you know, they're breaking up, that it's over. And as the reader is singing Hallelujah, it has Jensen kind of reliving the relationship based off of what parts of that song she's singing. One of the reasons I'm proud of that one is because I got to put a spin on a song that apparently a lot of people have never looked at that song that way. But every time I've ever heard that song, that's the kind of story that I heard in my head. It's like, wow, this is a love gone wrong. This is one of the most depressing songs ever. I love it.
Wait, other people don't think there's a love gone wrong?
Yeah, I actually had a lot of people
but that's how
message me saying that, you know, they had never heard it quite that way, or had never quite envisioned it. Because, okay, here's Erin's random wealth of knowledge. That song actually in its original form has I believe 15 different verses, and it actually has much more of a religious tilt to it. But the main verses that most people are familiar with is what I used in writing this. But yeah, there's no one that I ever know, even professional musicians who perform this song, know all of the verses because there are so many. He wrote 8 different versions of it that I think in total had 15 verses. I'd have to double check.
I think it's more than that.
It may be
I think
more
it's more than that too.
Yeah.
I have an album where it's the song is 15 minutes long at least.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I think a lot of times it depends on which version of it they've heard. Mine was based off of Katie Lang's performance, which if you have not listened to it, you need to, because that woman can sing. Oh my God. But anytime I hear it, this is instantly what always popped into my head. So I had a lot of fun writing it because it was just
Rachel tried to get a reaction across a second ago.
Do what?
You tried to get a reaction across. You said something about how people did not hear it.
Yeah,
What were you saying?
I've always heard it as a love story gone bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just every time I've heard it, it's always been love story gone bad.
Yeah.
It just kind of, I never heard that. I never realized that other people didn't see it as that. I don't know. I'm also conjugating Italian verbs, so being a college student.
Okay,
and the next. Oh, sorry.
Yep, the next is Silk and Rough Velvet, which is all a series, and it's also Jensen X reader, but it's an AU.
Yes, that is a Rockstar Jensen AU. I'm probably most proud of this because it is, for lack of a better term, my most popular fic and the one that actually started gaining me followers.
Also, how you met me, you could have gone with that first, just saying.
I was going to get there, but you know, hey.
You start with the most important part first.
Yes, it's also how I met Kari, and we have talked about that a little bit. But in Silk and Rough Velvet, Jensen is a rock star whose reputation is starting to severely limit his career possibilities. He's actually on the brink of destroying his career because this reputation precedes him. So in order to rebuild that and make him appear as a serious artist, his manager manages to get him cast in a live televised version of Phantom of the Opera, playing the Phantom. And the woman playing Christine, the reader, is a well-known Broadway performer who's just starting to branch out and is, very serious, nose to the grindstone, and they clash right away because he has absolutely no discipline, doesn't care, shows up unprepared, whereas she shows up, ready to go. You could throw me on stage right now and we could get this done. And they get forced to spend more time together and to get together because it's starting to hurt the production. And in the process of that, they start to see each other very, very differently, and the relationship starts to change and grow. That's also, I believe, the longest series I have posted on Tumblr at this point, with 34 chapters, if I remember correctly. And that recently,
Maybe,
I think it's 34, maybe 32. Either way,
I betaed about half.
Yeah, I actually started using betas halfway through this is when I started doing betas, and Kari baited it for me and has called dibs on about 80% of the stuff I've written since then. Because I'll tell her, yeah, I'm planning right. She's like, oh my gosh, I want a beta that one. Dibs!
I don't even have to do that with Rachel anymore. It's so easy. She just sends it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually
so there's that one. We are going to break with the pattern on the next one. The next one is called Blast from the Past. This is actually a Marvel fic. It is a love triangle between Steve Rogers, Captain America. Now? It is a love triangle of sorts.
It's a what now? It's a Marvel.
Marvel. Comic
Isn't it
books.
Superman? It's DC.
Will you let me talk, woman?
No. Not if you're gonna call Superman Marvel, I'm not.
Okay, no, because I have never written anything with Superman as a character. So hold on, I'm getting there. So it's Steve Rogers, Captain America, the reader, and then actually an original male character called Henry Taylor, which I used Henry Cavill as the inspiration for. So Kari. But no, the reader is an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's been doing missions with Steve for quite some time. And basically everyone else in their dog can tell that they care for each other as more than friends, but they either refuse to acknowledge or won't acknowledge those things until a former CIA compatriot of the readers, Henry Taylor, as portrayed by Henry Cavill in this, shows up and joins the team for a mission. And they actually, have quite the past, and starts to make Steve jealous and realize that if he doesn't step up and say something, he's going to miss his opportunity. And there are quite a few fun little twists in this one, which is why I loved this one. I kind of wish I could go back and rewrite it simply because I'm a far better writer now and I think I could do a much better job with the espionage. But there was a serious plot twist in this that I was so excited about that it was everything I could do to actually write everything that led up to it to build to that moment, and seeing everyone's reaction when that moment hit. Like, I was literally sitting there like evil cackles, enjoying every moment of it, which is why I loved that one. I absolutely loved the twist in it.
That's the thing that sucks the most about writing series. It's, but I want to get to this. But I want to get to this.
Yeah, you have a moment that you really, really want to write, and you're so looking forward to it. But if you don't build properly towards that moment, then it doesn't matter how well you write that moment because it's not going to have the impact you
I
want.
had that with Ties That Bind, but you know that because
yes, you do.
You read the outline. Yeah,
we're working on it. The next one, we're going back to Supernatural, but this is actually a Chuck one shot called Fare Thee Well. Again, based on the song. And this one is set when we first find out who Chuck really is. Spoilers for anyone who has not seen it yet, when we find out he's God.
Well, if they haven't seen it yet, then it's not a spoiler if it's 2 seasons ago.
I'm still bringing people into the fandom and getting them to start. So that's why I'm saying, if they come back and listen to it later, spoiler alert. And he has written a new book, and Metatron's reading it while he is performing this song. This is kind of my version of that scene. Before we knew really what was going on with him, we just knew he was God. But as he was performing that song, there were little moments in it that I just picked up on where it's like, okay, there's a lot more going on here than what we know. And this was me playing on those moments. Can
I just say that as a segue in this, because you kind of touched upon some of those things, that would also just be either an amazing fan fiction series, but also an amazing spin-off to show some of the things that he did as Chuck, as no one knew he was God, and the lives that he has led on Earth.
Yeah, and that's what that touches on. It touches on what he did in the time that he was away, and what he had to give up to come back, essentially, and how he feels about that.
Rachel has one of those too. Less angsty than yours, but she has weights. That also.
As anyone who has read more than one or two of my stories knows, I am an angsty bitch and have been told so on many occasions. So you know what? I do what I'm good at. So there's that one. Speaking of me being an angsty bitch, and the moment that got a lot of people to start calling me that, and a few people cursing at me for it, Blue Christmas is a one-shot that is part of my Sisterverse or Sister Reader series, where Sam and Dean actually have a sister. And Blue Christmas is set on Christmas Eve, right after the reader, not right after the reader's had her son, but the reader left the life because she unexpectedly ended up pregnant and didn't want to raise her child in that. And I'm going to have to just spoil the story because how it's written, you don't know exactly what's happened until close to the end. But right before Christmas, her son dies. SIDS happens very unexpectedly. Nothing anyone could have done to prevent it. But it's Sam going and finding her standing, in the nursery, just looking down at his crib. And a lot of the story is told in flashbacks, which is where we find out that's what's happened. And it's, them having to suddenly celebrate Christmas in the family house that she's been building with an integral part of that family missing. And I would like to say that that actually made the person who baited it cry when they were baiting it, and they cursed me up, down, left, and right because they said that never happens. So I was very, very happy with that because that's
So
exactly what I
let's
wanted.
we got some questions. So I'm kind of starting a little bit backwards since you talked about Blue Christmas, and as you said, it's part of your Sisterverse. Do you have all the seasons planned in your head for that one?
I'd say I
Or
probably have about 85 to 90% of it planned in my head. There are some areas where it's kind of fuzzy. I don't know exactly what I want to do with it, but I have the vast majority of it in my brain, if not already noted on in a doc somewhere to go back and write at some point.
is there some canon moments that you are looking forward to write? You don't have to give spoilers, but just mention some of the canon moments that you really want to play around with.
Probably the one I'm most excited about and will most likely write next is the first section of the pilot. I have written where, she and Dean go to get Sam, from Stanford and they, start the journey. But I really want to write the fire. The very first thing we ever see that kicks off the entire series. I'm really looking forward to writing that. I'm working out some details on it, and that's actually probably going to be my free square on my Angst Bingo card.
It's also
So
it's an awesome way to kind of do a series rewrite without having to commit to write 22, 23 episodes of 13 seasons, because that's a daunting task.
Exactly. And the way I'm doing it, it's not all told in chronological order. So you can read them as standalone one-shots, or you can go read them as the series, and the master list actually does have them in chronological order. So you can go and reference that if you so choose.
I've done that trick too with a few, that not rewrites, but with a few series that I haven't quite been able to let go of. Yeah, I'm doing that as well. I'm writing them as they pop into my head and just putting them in chronological order on the master list if people need to read them that way.
That's probably the moment I'm most excited about writing next on that, as far as canon moments go.
Okay, so I think if we do the one shots first, Hallelujah is one of those tragic ends to a relationship, and it's vague enough to not tell us exactly what happens. But what did you have any reasons to how this came to be in your head, and do you see any kind of future for them, not necessarily as lovers but as friends, or is that just it?
Yeah, I had all of the reasons in my head, and I alluded to it a little bit in the one shot, where it's basically just, people change, and, unfortunately they end up going in very different directions with their lives, and while they still, cared about each other, it didn't work anymore. And so, a choice had to be made to either, make some changes and fight, or just, go their separate ways. And, that choice was made. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of the vague one that's alluded to in the
was
story.
it really though? Was the choice really made? It was kind of a one-sided choice. I think her mind felt a lot more made up than his did.
It did. It was a breakdown of communication, essentially, was the main cause. But yeah, there was a lot that goes into it, and it would have taken another Silk and Rough Velvet length series to really explore that. And I just didn't really want to explore it. But there were a lot of reasons in that where it just culminated to that point where, yes, it was much more one-sided. It was much more her deciding that she wasn't willing to continue more than Jensen was. Had they not had that breakdown in communication, things definitely would have turned out differently. But there was that breakdown in communication that, had that end to it. As far as a future for them, I don't really see much of a future for them, simply because there's so many hurt feelings there. In my head, like I said, I could have turned this into another Silk and Rough Velvet type series and actually gone much longer. Because down the road, I do see, they become friendly. They're never hostile towards each other, but they don't really try and interact. They have enough common friends that they do still interact, so they are friendly, but they're never close. They wouldn't necessarily, consider each other friends. But if, one person went to the other for help, they wouldn't turn them away either, if that makes any sense.
They're adults.
And as you were talking about Hallelujah, I came to think about it. It's a very unusual way to write a songfic. She is singing it, which I have seen done before, but usually it's a person singing it that's reacting to the lyrics. This is a lot more Jensen standing on the outside, reacting to what she's singing. How did you come up with that?
I'm not entirely certain how I came up with it, because that's just how it popped into my head when I got the idea. It was just, Jensen standing on the outside looking in is how the idea originally popped into my head. So as far as coming up with it, I'm not sure I can give you an answer apart from that's just how the story formed in my brain. There wasn't really a conscious effort to it. I was just, listening to the song, and, the story suddenly popped outside going in. I guess it could come from the fact that, with her singing it, when you listen to the song, the lyrics are written in such a way where it's one person telling another. So I guess that's probably what drove the way that formed in my brain, because of how those lyrics are. And it's, lots of someone telling them, well, you are this, we're not that, as if someone's telling someone this. So I guess that's probably what made me think of it that way.
And I'm gonna jump again. And Forward is your current series. You're wrapping it up right now. But how did you make the choice of making it a real person fic instead of, say, a DNX reader AU?
Again, that one is that's how I always envisioned it, because there were just a few random ideas and scenes for a Jensen story that I had that I decided to string together to make a series out of instead of random standalone fics. I write Jensen and Dean very differently, and I see them as very different characters in my head. And anytime people ask me, well, why'd you decide to write it with this character or that character? A lot of times when I get the idea, the main characters are already set in my head. That's just how I envision it, how I saw it when I first got the idea. So I feel horrible that I can't give a really good, insightful, look at me, I'm smart answer, because I'm that's just kind of how I saw it in my head. It was always a Jensen story in my head. That's just how it appeared.
Do you have any, when it's a real person fic, do you have any limits to what you would do with that? Would you change it to a character fic because you don't want to do something because it's a real person fic? I'm thinking that I think we have talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, before, we have. I say yes and no, because there are a few things that I would hate to. We talked about, we agree we can do anything we want to the adults, but the kids are off limits.
Yeah.
Kind of talk. So yeah, I think if I was going to, heaven forbid, throw a child down a well. Kari.
It wasn't a well. it was buildings. It was a construction site.
If I was going to throw a child from a high precipice, I definitely would have to either create an original character for them or do an AU. I couldn't
It was
use...
Jensen. I didn't throw JJ anywhere. I threw Becca.
Right. But see, I used I said, that's why I said create a character or do an AU.
Yeah.
Simply because while I am pretty heartless in some of the things I've done in my writing, I don't think I could hurt the Paticles babies for real. Although who knows? I have been known to be pretty evil, so we'll see what happens in the future.
I have no qualms making Lisa into the bitch, or Joe into the bitch, or Meg, or whoever has been on the show. Even though I like the characters, I got zero problem making them into the villain or making them into the bitch. But I can't do that with Danielle, with Jen, with Vicky, with whoever. It's just that's a hard line for me. I can't do that. And the same with the kids. I had an idea recently, and I pitched it to Rachel, and I said I really don't think I can do this because it involved hurting the AJ. And we agreed that that's also a limit that's not something you can cross. So I'm thinking about how to do it with an OC or do it as Dean.
I have no memory of this conversation.
You have no memory of a lot of conversations, sweetheart. It was for my angst bingo, one of my squares.
That doesn't narrow it down at all.
No. It was the surgical complications one.
Not ringing a bell.
No. I'm not going to say any more on air because the plot is still going to be the same.
Spoil things. I'm enjoying that.
The plot is still going to be the same. I'm just I took the idea out of the equation. How I'm going to do it, I'm not entirely sure. But I have an angst bingo idea that's gonna be really, really cute. That's gonna be JJ, but still angsty because it's done through her eyes. And what's not scary at all to us is sometimes super scary to a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to writing that and have.
Oh, I remember.
Daddy might be a little scared too, and while Mama is laughing her ass off.
It's the one. I remember that one now.
That took a while. I literally just heard the pling when the light bulb went off.
You know what? I'd like to see you do what I'm doing right now.
I can do it in German or in French or in Swedish or Norwegian. I won't do it in Italian.
Well, there's your problem. I'm doing it in Italian because you can't.
You can do it in Danish.
We'll teach Danish.
Okay, let's jump back to Anna's question. She said, "What is it like being committed to Silk and Rough Railroad and Forward for so long? And how is it to switch between the mind frames you needed for Better Days and Forward while you were writing them at the same time?"
Okay. So some preface on that. I spent a little over a year and a half writing Silk and Rough Velvet, and I've been working on...
Better Days is Erin's novel, the title or the working title of it. It is going to be the title, right?
Yes, it's still a working title. I don't see myself changing it as of this point, but yes, that's the original novel that I've been working on for a little over a year now. And then Forward I've been writing for a little over a year. Being committed to a series for that long, like, it doesn't feel like I've been writing either of them for that long because I really enjoy writing those stories. It seems more surreal when I'm actually wrapping it up, or when I realize how long it is. I remember I was getting ready to post part 30 of Silk and Rough Velvet, and I went, wait a second, I've got how many parts to this thing? I've been doing this for how long? More caught me off guard than anything, and with Forward, I'm wrapping it up.
I think the word count caught you off guard because you were talking about turning it into a novel, and I said you're gonna seriously need to trim it, and you said no, it's gonna fit.
Yeah.
And you
because it
and you
doesn't
went
feel
back and
like,
counted. I'm like, son of a bitch, you're right.
yeah, because it doesn't feel like I've been doing it for as long as I have. It's because I'm right in the middle of it, I'm so focused on it. Anytime I do something, I throw myself into it like full force, and you can't see the forest through the trees kind of thing. I
And
don't realize
I
I've
was
been doing
kind
it
of
that long.
close to though. I am suck at math, but I remember you have this many chapters, and they are between 4 and 6K, all of them. So around 5.
Yeah.
So it's probably about this word count. Yeah, I don't have that many words. Well, then go and count.
Yes, he told me go and count. I went back and I had a Dean moment. I was just like, son of a bitch.
I
And
think I was
sadly, I
5K
know,
off or something like that. And when we are speaking 80K ish, that's pretty damn close.
yeah. But anyway, back to the question. It's more surreal than anything because I've been working on it for so long that now it's hard for me to imagine not working on it. And Forward, before I even started it, was a story that I'd wanted to write for like 8, 9 months to begin with, but I needed to finish what I was working on already. There is a limit to what I can do. I am a mere mortal and a workhorse and a bit OCD, and will run myself into the ground if I don't give myself hard limits on what I'm allowed to do.
But that's seriously the hardest thing when you have a dog of 10 series you really, really, really want to write, and you just know I can I can't give them the commitment that they deserve if I start everything at once.
Right. That's why
So
I've
so
more
picking
than
and
once put it
choosing.
up to a vote because there's so many that I really want to write I couldn't choose. So I would put it up for a vote, and okay, the vote decided, okay, we're going to do this one. That's actually how Forward got chosen as my next series. When Silk and Rough Velvet ended, I was torn between that and a few other series that I just really loved the idea, and there's some scenes I really wanted to write, and I couldn't decide. Like, Kari can attest to this. I'm like, I can't choose. I don't know what to write. Tell me what to write. She's like, I don't know. I can't even pick my own.
Yeah.
So I just put it up to a vote, and Forward won. And now, I'm doing edits on the very last chapter, and it's kind of crazy to think that I'm not going to be working on that anymore. But at the same time, I'm also very excited to move on and work on other things because I do have so many stories that I want to tell. As
That's
far as going
how
back,
that's how Killzone came about too. But I
mhm,
let people vote. So
yeah. As far as the switching the mind frames between working on Forward and working on Batter Days, like Kari said, Batter Days is an original novel that I'm working on. Right now, it's a lot easier to switch back and forth because last year I got the entire rough draft of Batter Days written, and now it's all reformatting and editing, and so I'm not having to create as much from scratch. But I usually have multiple things that I'm working on at one point in time, and the way I tend to keep track of that is, one, I have my outlines that I can always refer back to, but I always back up a little bit and read a bit of what I wrote the last time I worked on it, just to kind of refresh my brain for the tone that I was writing in, and what kind of feel I had at the time, and then looking at my outline to make sure I stay on track with what I want to do. So I always have a bunch of reference materials that I go back to before I actually start putting words on paper. Again, if that makes any sense to anyone.
what was
If
the
not, please ask for clarification.
what was the what was the inspiration behind Silk and Rough Velvet?
Actually, that all was inspired by one performance Jensen did at a con the first time. I saw the video for him singing at the convention in Vegas where he did Simple Man. There was one moment where you could tell he relaxed and just really got into it and hit this one note. And I was like, this dude's a rock star. Like he could so do this, for a living. And then I got to start thinking about, well, what would it be like? What would that look like? And then, just kind of played with that idea and ran with it. And it's turned into Silk and Rough Velvet.
And then Anna has oh no, I think I had another question. I had two for Silk and Rough Velvet. That was the last. Did you always plan for it to take the turns that it took, and how did the turns happen?
It's funny. A lot of it did happen the way I had planned, but it actually, when I first started, it was probably about half as long as it was going to be. My original plan was to just get them through the telecast and have it end with, okay, the show's ended, you have the after party, and it stopped there. But in the process of writing, in a few of the chapters, the characters just took over, and suddenly things that I wanted to happen later in the story were happening right at that moment. So I had to stop and go, well, crap, that doesn't work. It fit perfectly in the moment and perfectly in the story where I had it, but then I had to reevaluate what I wanted to have changed down the line. And I totally blame the fact that it is as long as it is on Kari, because like we mentioned earlier, while I was writing this is, when we met and started talking, and we would kind of play this little, well, what if game, helping each other brainstorm. And in the process of that is where the entire last act was born. So I, blame Kari both for it being longer and for that entire act taking place and for the headache that I had writing it, because she, kept objecting every other time.
You could just write your lawyers competent in the first place, then I wouldn't have to do that job.
Yeah. But no. So that one is a bit of six one way, half a dozen the other. I had always intended for the relationship to end up where it did. I had just intended the time frame for it to be very different. And then that entire last act.
Anna Banana has also Percy Winchester, or yeah. What?
We call her Anna Banana.
I do. I call her Anna Banana all the time.
I've never heard.
I call her Baby Spice.
I call her Anna Banana.
The angst is for the writer's room, for the angst in the Sisterverse is so freaking real. Tips on how to make it so raw, and more tips on writing gore and injuries.
It's funny. I'm pretty sure I can guess exactly which story she is referring to in that. I'm going to guess probably, the letters is probably the one she's thinking of on that, because her reaction for that was a lot more than I ever thought I'd ever get. But as far as angst, making angst real. It's all about
this is the friendship I have with Anna. She comes to yell at me for crap Erin does.
And you yell at me for stuff she does. You both do that. Yeah, she yells at me for stuff you do. Like, I'll suddenly get a message like, oh my gosh, I hate Anna, or you will not believe what Kari just told me. And I'm just like, oh God, what now?
This is true. I actually just yelled at Erin for something Anna hasn't even done yet. I just know Anna well enough to know she's going to do it.
Anyway, back to her question. Making the angst real is all about the show don't tell. When I really want to get a feeling across or reaction across from my readers, I don't just say, oh, this is what they felt. I'm going to spend time really digging into biologically what happens with that. Laying the scene out, showing the setting, painting a picture with the scene, and then getting more into the character's physiological response, because that's what people are going to react to more than going, oh, they were sad. But how are they showing that? Like, the show don't tell is really what I think makes that real.
We also, last week, we had our angst expert, Steph Turn and Fried, on here. And she made a point in saying there's beauty and pain, and there's only that beauty and pain if you give the people something to lose. So building up to it and making a solid relationship between the siblings in this incident, I think, is what makes it so hurtful when you're angst, because they do have amazing brother-sister moments in some of these one-shots as well.
Exactly. You have to care about the characters in order for them to react when something happens. But yeah.
Okay, more tips on writing gore and injuries. You didn't really cover that.
Yeah, I didn't get quite that far. Okay. Gore and injuries is kind of tricky. For the letters, like I said, I'm pretty certain that's what she's referring to.
I got a trick. I got a trick.
You're not answering the question.
No, but my trick is you yell at Erin to make her do it for you.
You have done that many a time. Yes, Erin, I don't like to do it. And I've literally written an entire scene for her. That's a
trick. That's a trick.
Yeah,
just yell at Erin.
And she writes it for you. But on that, for that one, what I did as far as describing the injuries is what is going to make the other characters react. You know, Sam has a very visceral reaction to what he's seeing, and those boys, you know, see blood, gore, murder, death every single day. So what was going to have him have that reaction? So I honed in on the pieces that were going to make the other characters react. So anytime I'm writing an injury, I kind of reverse engineer it. Especially with the gore, is all right, so how is everyone else going to react to it, and what would actually elicit that response in those characters? So I kind of look at where I plan on going and then figure out what would get me there.
Was it Rachel? I remember I wrote this really angsty Sam one shot a little over a year ago, and you were the one that betaed and you helped me with a lot of it. But I remember you were at work and I couldn't get you as I was writing it. I think I might have been Rachel. I wrote, what sound does a kidney make when it is being yanked out of the body?
Actually, you asked me about a lot of that too, and I was like,
I know, but you weren't around. I couldn't get you. I probably asked you the question, and then you weren't answering, and I needed to move on with it. And I think I just sent Rachel that question completely out of context. I probably shouldn't have said that because he had just stopped yelling at me about it.
Freaking kidneys.
Yeah. Stupid internal organs. Yeah. Why do they have to be in the body when we want them outside the body? It's a much better reaction.
I used a crocodile plier and yanked it out of Sam, and I kind of needed it to make a sound, a swoop, a pop sound, something.
Does anybody know where Dante died?
Italy. I
know that, but where specifically in Italy?
Google is a wonderful tool.
I'm on Wikipedia. I'm working on it.
Not Wikipedia. No. Wikipedia can be changed too easily.
I don't think he's in Rome.
Who's gonna change the Dante's death place?
I could.
A lot of people.
But why?
What people will change. Anyway, back to topics. But yeah, reverse engineering it, and then how graphic you make it depends on how big of a reaction you want your characters to have.
He is in Ravenna, Italy.
I figured it out, thank you. Go back to your actual job that you're supposed to be doing.
We'll keep talking, little miss. I run this show, but I'm going to be over ignoring you.
Yeah, I am trying to help her with the homework.
No, that's what I'm saying. She can let her go do the job that I'm actually supposed to be doing right now, but I'm not.
Moving on.
Yeah.
My defense.
I don't even remember the name of my own one shot, and now I was stupid enough to mention it. I need to figure it out.
Yeah. That's for you.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay.
Not so fun when someone suddenly throws you for a loop when you weren't prepared to talk about a story, huh?
No. Damn it. Okay, Rachel, this one is
Yeah.
for you first, so you can go back to your Italian.
Mhm.
What's your favorite trope to write? Anna says, and she also says, I love you all so much. I don't say it as much as I should, but I think you're phenomenal writers and beautiful people. That's all.
Thank you, Anna Banana.
Thank you, Anna.
I love you.
I love you too, Anna. You're amazing.
I have to make hard questions.
Rachel, what's your... Sorry?
I said, Anna, why did she make hard questions?
Hey, I'm not the one getting yelled
Let's
at for coming up with hard questions this week. Yes!
I don't have a favorite trope to write. I don't know.
Yes, you do. Everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I do. I guess I kind of like when like they both two people like each other, but they always think that the other one doesn't.
What?
I don't have a specific example.
No, just explain yourself a little one.
Like a general, Dean and Reader both love each other, but are too stupid to admit it, and then Sam's like, bruh.
Denied love, maybe. It's not unrequited love because it's very requited, but
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like I don't
yeah.
know. You'll know what I mean.
Yeah. My favorite is Friends to Lovers.
I knew that.
And that's very much part of the reason I love writing Danielle so much. It's because that friendship is there before it evolved into something else.
They were friends.
I'm not much of the love at first sight, stormy romance kind of girl. So Friends to Lovers. And it doesn't just apply to those. It very much applies to Dean and Sam and Cass and whatnot too.
Can I just put cliffhangers as mine? I love cliffhangers. I love writing cliffhangers.
Sweetie, that's not a trope.
I know it's
that's
not.
A plot device.
I know.
That's a plot device. I love cliffhangers too, but that's not a trope.
I know. Mine would actually be writing that thin line between love and hate. I love exploring that because they are complete opposite sides of the coin. So the whole hate to love thing, I love both reading those and exploring that when I write. Just it's so much fun.
I got a divorce AU on my angst card. I'm toying with two ideas, but that could be one of them. Very intense love going to blind hatred.
But yeah, I love exploring those.
Yeah. I think that was it for the questions. I don't think there's anyone in the chat. If somebody has, whoops. They mentioned something in Dan Brown's Inferno. Somebody is telling you to read a Dan Brown novel.
That novel is amazing. I love that. It's one of my favorites. I totally agree. Everyone needs to read that novel.
It's on my
guys.
I don't have enough time to do my reading for school, but it's on my bookshelf. I have it.
Okay,
yeah,
well, when you graduate,
I haven't gotten to it yet.
As soon as I graduate, I have to go back to school.
Yeah.
The next book I'm going to read is This Is Where I Leave You. I think it's a good book.
Oh, I thought you were telling me you were leaving me, and I was like, okay, bye.
No, This Is Where I'm Leaving You. It's Diana Roper. So I'm moved on to wrecking books on fanfiction. So let's move on. Erin, you got some fics by other authors to wreck. Do you wanna go one by one and tell us what the pairing is, who it's by, and why you love them, and why everyone should read them?
Sure. I kept this strictly to Tumblr since that's kind of what we're prefacing everything with on this. I do read, comment, and post on other sites as well, but that's kind of where I kept all of this too.
For future reference, we are good with AO3 and fanfiction net and whatnot. We can link to just about everything.
That would change the list significantly, but for now we'll leave it at this.
Yeah, Tumblr is our home, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I left it to stuff that's just on Tumblr for now. The Arrangement by Raven Girl 94, that is a Dean Reader AU. In it, the Winchester family owns a very, very successful business worth a crap ton of money. And Dean is about to be disinherited by his grandfather Samuel because of the way he's acting. And so instead of actually changing the way he's acting, he gets a pretend girlfriend to try and give off the appearance of him having settled down and being serious. One of the reasons that I love this is one, it deals with one of my favorite tropes. They don't really like each other, but things develop. But also, I just thought it was so fun the way the characters evolved in this story.
If you're looking for a name for this trope, it's enemies to lovers.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm sorry, I don't keep up on all the lingo. I just go, this is the story I want to tell. Now let me figure out how to do it.
I've just I'm doing the angst bingo cards. I just figured out a shit ton of tropes I didn't know the name for.
You can't see it, but I'm sticking my tongue out at you right now. But yeah, so that's why I love the character development in this. That's why this one stands out to me, and I have gone back and read it more than once, because I just love the way the characters evolve, both personally and in their relation to each other. And not just Dean and the reader, but the relationship he has with the rest of his family. I love the journey in that one. The next one that I have is Tic Tac Toe by Percy Winchester 27. This is an ongoing Sam Reader AU. And what originally got me into reading this one was the meet cute. The whole premise behind this is the reader has moved to a brand new city and is starting her life over working for this, design firm or an architectural firm that's, top of the line, leads the industry essentially. And she is having a horrible start. Everything's difficult. She's tempted to just go back and start all over, and is sitting at a bus stop and randomly etches a tic-tac-toe board onto a bench and makes a mark. Not even really sure why she does it, but she does it out of sheer boredom, I guess. And she comes back and someone has placed a mark and made a note. And she starts developing this relationship.
Oh my gosh.
This contains an amount of lead.
I'm sorry.
What standard limits?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, your head stains a lot of lead, Rachel.
Yes, it does. yes, it does.
Wait, if you're gonna insult me, I didn't hear it. Say it again.
Your head does contain a lot of lead.
Yeah.
She doesn't even fight it. I love it. Anyway, but she starts developing a relationship with this individual without ever seeing their face, simply because they're playing this random game of tic-tac-toe. And then
I got a little ad. I got a little thing I want to add to it. The first 10 parts, I think it's the first 10 parts she wrote, and then she revised it. She's building on it now again. But the first 10 parts are inspired by Michael Bublé's "I Haven't Met You Yet." And I love that song, and I love that song so much. And that's just the most, even in itself, the story is amazing. But with that in mind, that's just the most beautiful take on that song. She really knocked that one out of the park. And I don't read a lot of Sam X Reader. I love that one. So even if you're a Dean girl that mostly read Dean, I promise you're gonna love it.
Agreed. I guess I'll move on then. The next one is Summer Fling by Supernatural Jackals. This is a Dean Reader AU in which the Reader goes to spend the summer with Bobby, who is her dad. She just needs to get away from her life, so she goes to spend a summer with her dad as an escape, and in the process ends up meeting Dean, and is very clear that she is not going to form any attachments, but they become friends, and over the course of the summer, things change. What I love so much about this one is the realism and the way it's built with the reader's backstory. Based on my own experience and the experiences of others, the way she portrays how the reader's dealing with what's going on in her life, and I'm trying really hard not to spoil anything, is so spot on in her physical reactions, the way she reacts to being touched and her reactions to things. It's so spot on that I just absolutely love it. That's what really drew me into it and kept me reading. Because I have read some stuff that dealt with a similar vein before, but this one, just the way she builds those characters is exquisite. I love it.
There's an amazing human understanding in this one, that's for sure. I agree, and with my work, I can say that for 60-70% of all people, that's the most common reaction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's that. The next one that I have is Lucky by Soaring Eagle. It's an oldie but a goodie. Absolutely love it. It's a Jensen Reader series. The reader is actually Jared's older sister that Jared is very, very protective of. You would actually think he is the older sibling with how protective he is of her. But she ends up going up to Vancouver and meeting Jensen, and they start to form a relationship, but they swear it's only going to be friends because, Jared, being the overly protective brother that he is just like, no, that can't happen. And regardless of what they try and have happen, the relationship changes, and Jared's reaction to it is amazing. I just absolutely love the relationship between the characters in this story. I found myself laughing out loud based off of some reactions. I found myself cheering. I did everything but cry because I have a black little heart and rarely cry at anything or allow myself to cry at anything. But yeah, the characters.
Yeah, speaking of tropes, that's one of my favorite tropes to write, to have the sibling dynamic between two of them and the relationship dynamic between the other. I like writing that as well.
The sibling dynamic in this is just great.
Yeah, I had a spontaneous series happen. I can't remember the name of, but that was also having Jared chase Jensen out of a window was just fun.
Yes. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on. The last one that I brought, again, these are all from Tumblr, otherwise I'd probably be at this all night, is Out of the Park by I Want the Dean. This is a Jensen Reader AU in which Jensen is a baseball player, a professional baseball player. The Major League Baseball decides to create a women's league as kind of a tribute. It's only supposed to last 1 year. And since Jensen is currently injured and unable to play, they recruit him to be the coach of one of these teams.
They recruit Grumpy.
Yes. Yeah, they tell Rundown he is going to be coaching this team. And he is very, very pissed off about it. He doesn't want to coach it. But the reader is the catcher on this team.
She's the best.
And she is very much a leader on the team, and he notices that and pushes her a lot harder than he does anyone else. And she actually resents him for it quite a bit at the beginning because he is also her hero. and the way their relationship evolves and changes from the beginning of the story to the end. And I have been promised a sequel to this, and I am like chomping at the bit for it. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna send Nicole and ask now. As soon as we get off here, I'm gonna go yell at Nicole.
She told me she was gonna do it, and I occasionally send her random things, going pick because I want it so bad.
Everyone that's listening to this, go read that series. When you're done reading that series, go send Nicole and ask and say, we want a sequel.
I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
You can blame me. It's totally fine. I don't care. Just go yell at her.
But yeah, anyway, one of the reasons why this speaks so much to me is I was actually a competitive softball player for a very long time. I actually was set to play in college and then blew out my shoulder. As in I can't even play catch anymore. I throw the ball 2 or 3 times and I can't use my arm the rest of the day.
Don't get a German Shepherd then.
Do what?
Don't get a German Shepherd then.
Yeah. I can toss an underhand, I just can't do full throw. But anyway,
again, so don't get a German Shepherd.
A lot because of that, and the detail she puts about like the rules in the game and the strategy and how all that works spoke to my, athletic part of me. And so I know that's always gonna have a special place in my heart because I can relate so much to what's going on because I've lived part of that. But yeah, so.
And I'm just gonna add for the people that are listening and saying I don't know baseball, I don't give a crap about baseball, so I'm not gonna read that. I don't know baseball. I'm from Denmark. Baseball is not even a thing here. I love that series so much because of the relationship.
Yeah,
and because she's a badass.
Like sports, you will love this one. Like I said, it speaks extra to me because of it.
Jensen is grumpy, and you want to kick his ass more often than not, but he's also charming, and the Rita is a badass, and he's stubborn, and there's a scene where he literally she's overreacting on the field, and he literally takes her and drops her in the shower and turns on the cold water. Mm-hmm. And only for that scene, just read it.
Even if you don't like sports, the sports part of it is just a backdrop. It's really the relationships that make this story great. So even if you don't know baseball, you're still going to be able to love this. That was just, an added bonus for me.
You might fall in love with the sport. Just saying, it's a great sport. Love it.
It is. It's amazing.
I've actually, when I ever go to America, it's on my bucket list to go to a baseball game. I want to go to a baseball game.
Well, when you show up, let me know, and I will take you to some badass sporting events. I'm also taking you to a football game, damn it.
Hell yes.
Unless you bring Jensen or Chris Evans, no way in hell.
Yes, you are.
Oh, you're going to a football game.
Unless, I'm saying, if I have Chris Evans behaving like a happy toddler beside me, I'm okay with it. But otherwise, no.
The ball reaction video from last year.
Yeah.
Wilma, stop it.
Oh. Okay, Miss Rachel, you're up.
What am I doing?
You need to throw some rapid fire questions at Erin.
Can I just say I've been looking forward to this part more than anything else. I love this kind of stuff. So I've literally been like giddy waiting for this.
I think we should get back to our original question we usually threw at people at the end of this, just to throw.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Bring it on. I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, wait. Hold on. Wilma, stop it. My cat's eating my homework.
Also, to go back to Rachel's, not snaps, but you can follow Wilma on Instagram. And there's I swear my cat ate my homework, and she's literally chewing at her paper and pawing it.
Yeah, I'll put my cat's Instagram in the description too.
Yeah. I love that cat, just saying.
A bit.
Why are you wet? Is your toilet closed, Rachel?
All right. Erin, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. My cat's having a fit. Okay.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
No. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Typing or handwriting?
Typing.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Cat or dog? Yeah.
Cat.
Asks or reblog?
Erin!
Asks.
Binge or as published?
Binge.
Morning or evening?
Morning.
Text or call?
Text.
Canon or AU?
Canon.
Lots of gifts or plain text?
Gifts.
Music or quiet when writing?
Music.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Series or one-shots?
Series.
Book or movie?
Book.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Long or short fix?
Long.
Rain or snow?
Rain.
Angst or fluff?
Angst.
Boat or plane?
Boat.
Reading or writing?
Reading.
Phone or computer?
Computer.
Fan fiction or books?
Books.
Explicit or light smut?
Explicit.
First person or second person?
First.
Piercings or tattoos?
Tattoos.
Leather or lace?
Leather.
Pasta or pizza?
Pasta.
Rachel or Kari?
Yes.
Oh, well done. You are actually really, really good at that.
I told you I was looking forward to that part, man. I was, oh man.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to this.
half of them. That's literally all of the rapid fires that I have.
Seriously?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think the two best we have had has been. Steph was pretty good too. The first one just stopped her, but Jill answered really, really fast too. Last week.
I'm telling you, a couple of those, I want to go back and change my answer or explain why I picked one over the other, but I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Very much not how this works.
Yeah.
No. Okay, Rachel, do you wanna wrap it up?
Yeah. So we're not doing next week, right?
No, we're not we were gonna do next week where we were gonna talk about
Yeah, we're just postponing that.
Yeah, we're postponing that one. We're gonna have Maggie Winchester Sunason on at another time, talking about non-native speakers writing fan fiction in English.
We're gonna on for sure.
But the next one I think is the next one the end Supernatural Jackals.
It's gonna be we're gonna pre-record it, so it's not gonna be live.
No, because
we got some schedule.
That's a work, yeah, yeah. That's a scheduling problem. But we really want her on, and she's gonna be talking about fluff.
So yeah.
So that one is gonna be pre-recorded, but it's gonna be posted.
Karina.
Hmm?
Shut up.
Hmm?
Okay. So our next episode is going to be on March 18th, same time, same place. Well, I take it back. I'm going to try to have it posted at the same time, but it might be up a little bit earlier. Depends on my mom and dad are trying to get me to come home that weekend. So
it doesn't really matter. Put it up, and it will be shared.
It will be up before. Okay, it'll be up before the. So. Yeah, that's our next episode. As always, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also hit the notification bell, and that'll let you know every time I upload a video, or as soon as we go live, it'll send you notification. So you
when is the next time we're live, Rachel?
Maybe
we might want to.
March 25th.
March 25th, and that is with ATC for 74. And we're gonna be talking more about feedback.
Oh, guys, we're not gonna be live for another month.
Oh,
it's gonna be a whole month. I don't know. We'll see. You might. I wonder if we can do something special in between. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we can.
Yeah.
But it'll probably just be me and Rachel.
Yeah. You never know. Something might happen. Because I got spring break coming up soon, guys. Woo woo.
Yay! And when we come back after the summer, we might have a special guest in the background because somebody's little sister got accepted into UDA.
Didn't even let me tell it. Really? Really?
No, because I'm as proud as you are, and I was the second person to know.
I was the first person to know. My little sister got accepted to the same school that I'm at right now. She's going to be hopefully moving in with me this fall. So yeah, we're gonna have we also literally, when I tell her to go, what were we doing? I was driving, and I said something along the lines of, "Go tell your other sister that I'm driving." She was messaging. So like, she's just as much Kari's sister as I am, and we found out yesterday. I was the first one that she called, and then I immediately called Kari. So Karina literally knew that she was coming up here before my mom and dad knew.
Yeah. To anyone questioning the friendship which some dumbass did on Rachel's blog not long ago, that's how close we are. We know stuff about, and not even each other's personal life, but each other's family's personal life before actual family does.
If she what was it? You knew about Rosie. Your friend knows who I am. Sam knows who I am because he calls me the weird one.
Yeah.
I'm still very pleased that your other friend, I don't know if you want names on here or not, that is very mad at me still.
Yeah, no, just keep Sam's name on there. He's okay with it. He watches sometimes.
Oh, really?
So, but aside from that.
That's why I try to keep things a little bit on the DL. But your other friend who does not like me very much, I'm very pleased with that fact. I'm very proud of myself that he doesn't like me. Like, to anyone who wants to hate, try me. Oh, and for the future, please do not come into the chat and start causing trouble like we had earlier today.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
I love an active chat, and to Rainy, what's her name? Ryan's. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm butchering your name. We really, really love an active chat. We love when people are talking to us, but it's not a forum to attack us, and it's not a forum to start discussing how much you think we know about writing or whatever. It's if you don't want to listen to us, you don't have to, but don't attack us.
Like, yeah, so yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there. But as always, like I said, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you in a month.
Rin. It's Rin. Thank you. And I'm so sorry I'm not American. That's my only excuse. And I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, you're a dumbass. We will see you guys later. Bye.